Stop me if you've heard this before, but this is not going to be a long show. Not going to be a long show, guys. Welcome in. Real Baron Podcast. Baron Coleman, your host. Like, subscribe, click notifications, all that good stuff. All right, I got the technical details out of the way. If I hired a consultant, they would say, you've done your job. You've done everything we asked you to do. Unfortunately, I don't have a consultant. It's just me and a computer and a microphone and a camera. But we're working on it. We're working on it, trying to get this a little more professionalized, but you never know. It may just end up being me forever. But I had to go tonight for a couple reasons. One is it is the Christmas week, and the schedule will be a little altered. For example, normally I have a Wednesday show or a Thursday show. This week, there'll be neither. There'll be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So we're not going to do that. I will be back Friday. I think I can commit to Friday. So I'll go tonight. I think it's a great show lined up for tonight. And then we'll do a break on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let you celebrate the Christmas holiday with your family. And then we will be back in this seat Friday night. So I think you're going to like what we have today. It kind of shocked me. I wasn't going to do a show today. I was going to try to kick it to tomorrow maybe. But the more I looked at this issue, I thought, no, I want to talk about this. Like, I really want to get into it. So I'm going to jump right into it. The opening really has two parts. And so bear with me as we get to the meat. But I got to get some housekeeping duties out of the way here. Here's the opening statement. I firmly and wholeheartedly reject the notion that every hypothesis and every inquiry pursued during an investigation must be 100% accurate and irrefutably backed by solid evidence before being discussed. Can you imagine, for example, a detective movie or a true crime story without some twists and turns as the early evidence that once seemed to point to a certain direction is contradicted by later evidence that turns the investigation on its head? These developments are not rare. They happen. They happen frequently. And we are permitted to discuss them as they happen. Investigations are just that. They're investigatory by nature. They consist of puzzle pieces of evidence that must be sifted through to determine which pieces go where and which pieces aren't part of the puzzle at all. The task becomes all the more difficult during large investigations that involve many different actors at the scene of the crime and even more lurking in the shadows in the events leading up to the moment the crime was committed. Think of 9/11. Think of the hundreds or thousands of different characters who played parts knowingly or unknowingly in the months and years before that fateful Tuesday morning in 2001. Consider the Charlie Kirk investigation. There were an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 people present when he was taken down. There were hundreds more lurking in the shadows of his personal and professional life. At the moment the loud bang was heard roaring across the UVU courtyard, every single one of them, present and not present, were in the pool of possible accomplices or suspects. Over time, that field of potential prospects narrows. At first, it narrows considerably. Nearly everyone there was ruled out in hours, if not minutes. Most of the spectators meandered off on their own. They simply walked or drove away. Upwards of 95% or more of the people could be ruled out, and they were never again contacted by anyone. This left a few characters from different pools of contacts. I'll divide them into three pools. First, there were perhaps a couple dozen from the scene of the crime, mostly employees and contractors of Charlie Kirk. There was a second pool of maybe a dozen or two more behind the scenes, mostly TPUSA employees or contractors. There were a few tangential figures like donors and TPUSA affiliated individuals who were neither employees nor contractors. Then there's the third pool, the problematic third pool. It's this third pool that has caused most of the heartburn. The third pool likely is a small number of total people, but the problem is that people tend to come and go from this pool. Sure, Tyler Robinson is in this pool, but what about his furry roommate? What about their friends? Are there any military people in this third pool? What about intelligence operators, elected officials, friends, and family? The reality is, at this point, we don't know. And because we don't know, we sometimes have to speculate out loud in order to get clarity on exactly who does and does not belong in this third pool of potential suspects. It was in trying to nail down potential members of this third pool, this unknown pool of individuals, that I began speculating about the involvement of a particular flight that took place on August 25th, a little over 2 weeks before the event at Utah Valley University. And the flight was a multi-leg U.S. military flight from Joint Base Andrews to Colorado Springs and then on to Las Vegas later that day. It was given the call sign SAM 000, a rarely used call sign reserved for people as high-ranking as the President and Vice President of the United States, though it's occasionally used for cabinet-level officials and military officials ranked as high as the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Whoever was on that plane truly was a VIP, a very important person. In addition to the SAM 000 designation, I was provided screenshots from an emailer that showed city streets closed down near the airport when the plane landed. The screenshots didn't reveal whether they were closed down because of the official arriving on the SAM 000 flight, but if the vice president or president were traveling by car from the airport, it would not be unusual to have the streets closed down for the occasion. I scoured the schedules of both the president and the vice president and was able to determine President Trump was present and accounted for on camera several times during the day of the flight and the following day. But I could not find any video or mention of Vice President Vance being present after the flight left Joint Base Andrews on August 25th, headed to Colorado Springs. So I stated as much on the show. I said I didn't know for certain who was on that plane, but unless and until someone could show me evidence of Vice President Vance being on camera somewhere else while that plane was in the air, I was going to include him on the short list of people who might have been on that flight. Well, someone did provide me that proof. I was contacted by someone who was in the room with Vice President Vance on the afternoon of August 25th. They were in the Oval Office. I reviewed video that I am 100% certain came from that day. As a result, I'm now confident. I'm 100% confident that Vice President Vance was not on that flight. Do I regret speculating aloud on this program whether he was on the flight? No, I don't. Because that's how an investigation unfolds. I couldn't possibly contact everyone in Washington asking who might have been in the room with the vice president that day. I looked through news reports. I looked through YouTube videos trying to find proof that he was not on that flight. I looked through what I could find of his itinerary. I asked Grok, I asked Claude, and I asked ChatGPT, and I came up short on all of it. So I speculated aloud. It eventually made its way to the right person who provided what I asked for. Definitive proof it wasn't Vice President Vance. The question remains, who was on that flight from Joint Base Andrews to Colorado Springs? I still think it's relevant, and I still don't know who it was. I just know it wasn't the vice president. It may turn out that the flight's not relevant at all, but that doesn't stop me from asking the question. A large part of investigating is recognizing patterns and deviations from patterns. It's why some people are good at it and others, sadly, are not. And it's this pattern recognition that leads me to my first story tonight. On yesterday's show, I had some fun at the end of with some images of Butch Hibbs from before and after Charlie Kirk was taken from this life. Butch Hibbs, if you will recall, is the brother of Pastor Jack Hibbs. He is an influential pastor in the Calvary Chapel denomination. Butch looked different. I mean, his beard looked different. His hair looked different. Even the curve of his hat was substantially different from before and after the event. And so we asked, partly in jest, but really because we wanted to know, is this even the same Butch Hibbs? And that led to something I was not expecting. An astute emailer, and I don't know if this emailer wants to be known or not, so I will not reveal the name, emailed in and asked what I thought was in his right breast pocket, Butch Hibbs' right breast pocket before the event. I hadn't noticed anything, so I went back and looked at the images from Charles McClintock Wilson, and sure enough, you can see something in his front right pocket. But I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't have a nice clean angle. Looked kind of like a rectangle or a square, maybe with rounded edges. So I went and found the full frontal picture from Facebook. I'll show you all these in a minute. And I could see the object pretty clearly. It was a mostly square-looking object with rounded corners. I had no reference for how large or small it was. I could just see that it was there. So I went to a video from after the event, the Life is Driving video, Adam Bartholomew's video. It's been a great reference. Even though Adam came on the program and we disagreed, it's been a good reference, and I appreciate him leaving it up so we can use it. And lo and behold, The object in Adam Bartholomew's video is not in Butch Hibbs' front right pocket, at least not as far as I can tell. That's why yesterday, if you noticed, we couldn't even determine if he had a pocket at all on that side because it wasn't three-dimensional. It was three-dimensional ahead of time because it had that object in it. Afterwards, it would laid flat across his chest and you couldn't even see it. So I looked up what kind of shirt it was. It turns out it's a Wrangler fishing shirt. I'm pretty sure it's a Wrangler fishing shirt. And I found one online and I thought about ordering it, but ultimately, why do I need a Wrangler fishing shirt? So I didn't order it. I've got 8 kids. I'm not wealthy enough to drop $50 on a Wrangler fishing shirt if I don't need one. But I saw they had Wrangler shirts at Walmart, so I packed up the truck, grabbed a tape measure, and headed to the local Walmart. I wanted to see how big that object is. To my dismay, they did not have that exact shirt, but what they did have were other shirts that had similar patterns, and all of the Wrangler shirts with similar type check patterns all had approximately 1-inch stripes on them. That'll become important in a minute. I'll show you these pictures. I want to get through the opening. The stripes were all basically 1 inch on each side. And so I came home again and looked closely at the object in his pocket. And the object appeared, if my estimates of the measurement were correct, to be just under 2 inches, maybe 1 3/4 inches, maybe 1 4/5 inches, but both tall and wide. It appeared to be sticking off his chest, but less than 1 inch, maybe 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch. And again, this is just estimating based on a few pics. So I went to the internet and I looked up the dimensions of the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone. That's the microphone Charlie Kirk was mic'd up with shortly before taking the stage. I mean, seconds before taking the stage. And you'll never in a million years guess what those dimensions are. They're basically identical to what I estimate is in Butch's pocket. I'll show you that in just a second, but that's not even the best part. I'll get to the best part in a minute, but let me get to the dimensions here. Maybe you aren't going to be as easily as amazed as I am, but I'm pretty weirded out by this whole thing. I'm going to be honest with you. This is pretty wild. All right, let me pull up image number 1 here. We'll get to this image number 1. Here we go. This is image number 1 that I looked at. This is a Charles McClintock Wilson image. You can see this is what I'm talking about right here. This image right here, and you can't clearly see what it is in this image because he's kind of at an angle. We'll fix that in just a second. But let me back up, click out of this one, go to the next one. This one gives you a little better idea what it is, but it's still not great. I know I'm probably making you dizzy zooming in and out. There we go. You can kind of see it has a definite bottom there. You can see the line on the bottom and the sides. This isn't where it's really great. I'm going to pull up the Facebook page from the Butch Hibbs Facebook event, and you can see it plain as day. This is when I was like, oh, that's what it is. You see that? That right there? Let me get on there. Where is it? Oh, there. Oh, whew. Sorry, I'm making you guys dizzy. I should clip these out. This right here, this is the one side. It goes right here. It's just short of this real fine white line. And then it goes over to this other line. So it's just short of 2 inches wide. It goes from just above this dark line to right almost exactly at that white line there. So it's just about 2 inches tall. You guys can't see it. Oh, great. All right, here's what I'm going to have to do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this. I'm going to do a screen grab of it, and I'm going to blow it up. I didn't think about how it would not come up on that. All right, here we go. This'll help. Now you'll see it plain as day with what I'm about to show you here. Boom, you see that? Oh, I made it small. I didn't mean to make it small. Oh gosh, stop. How did I make it small? It was big just a second ago. There. You see that? That is 2 inches high and low by 2 inches right and left. And it's just short of 2 inches. I'm telling you, these checks are 1 inch by 1 inch squares based on the Wrangler patterns. So this is rounded corners. It sticks off of his chest about, I don't know, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. And it's got these rounded corners on it. I'm just making sure everyone can see it. So each one of these little squares is just about an inch based on the local Wrangler shirts. And if I have to, I will go and order one. I'll go and order one of these shirts. I don't want to do that if I don't have to. But I can. Okay. So now you guys have seen it. I'm going to leave that pulled up. And I'm going to show you what I mean when I say it has similar dimensions as the microphone. Oh, boy. See, this is why I need here we go. This is why you guys deserve better. I always tell you that, and one day I'm going to figure it out. All right. Here are the dimensions of the Rode microphone. These are the dimensions of the Rode microphone. It is 46.4 meters high. This is the receiver, meaning this is the piece that's underneath your shirt. 46.4 millimeters high, 44 millimeters wide. So you can tell that is almost a square. Not quite a square, but almost a square. If you convert 46 to inches, it's 1.8 inches tall and just short of 1.8 inches wide. So that is the dimension. And if you look here at an image, you can see how the corners are kind of rounded. You see that? Those corners are kind of rounded. So it's almost exactly square with rounded edges. It sticks off about 18 millimeters or so. So a little under half an inch, maybe a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I don't know what that is, what that comes out to. Here, let me do a little math. 18 to inches. It's going to be 0.7, right? So 0.7 inches off the shirt or off the chest, almost 2 inches wide, almost 2 inches high. So let's go back and look now that you've gotten the dimensions. Let's go back and look at it. And I'll tell you why this is important in just a second. Go back and look at the Butch Hibbs image here and tell me this doesn't look identical. Well, hold on. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. This one right here. Tell me that doesn't look the same. I know it looks the same because it is the same. I know it doesn't look the same. I know it does look the same because it is the same. Trust me, if I have to order the shirt, I will. But that is roughly the exact dimensions of the microphone. That's roughly the exact dimensions of the microphone. So why is this important? How did he even get up with this? This is the important part of this. How would a guy like Butch Hibbs even come in contact with this microphone? Now, again, why would the microphone matter? If you didn't watch yesterday's program, you need to go back and watch it. If you didn't watch yesterday's program, you need to go back and watch it. Now, I will show you now an image of Butch Hibbs after the big shebang. You'll notice no pocket square. It's not in there. That's where it would be, right there. It's not there. That's why yesterday we didn't even think he had a pocket because it's not in there. No one buy me a Wrangler shirt for Christmas. I saw that comment. I don't need it. I don't need it. So I had to ask, how would, okay, my mind was blown at this point. I spent all day thinking about, like, how on earth would Butch Hibbs even come into contact with it? Would he even have been near where Charlie Kirk was mic'd up? Because if you remember, all of the images of Charlie Kirk getting mic'd up were on the left-hand side of the tent, and Butch Hibbs, all the images of him standing there are on the right-hand side of the tent. And so, when would the exchange have been made? And so I dig, and I find this image from just before Charlie Kirk comes out. And I know Charlie Kirk is here because Butch Hibbs is photographed with him. This is Butch Hibbs without his hat. standing right there, right next to Brian Harpole, right next to Terrell Farnsworth, and right next to the guy who mic'd him up, Philip Goldsberry Jr. Now, you'll notice after this, when Charlie Kirk's talking, Butch Hibbs goes to this side over here. He's standing right over here on this side behind the tent. But beforehand, he's over here next to all the sound guys, next to the microphone people. So at least we put him now on that side of the tent. So how did, this assumes that yesterday's episode has some merit to it, that the microphone did have some sort of either explosive device or had some sort of, whatever. And for those of you saying Altoid tins, did he throw it away in the 20 minutes between the time we were pictured with him before and after? Stop with the Altoid stuff. He didn't throw it away. That's ludicrous. That's absolutely ludicrous. And I'm not saying he 100% did all this. I'm saying, wow, this needs to be considered. Wow, this needs to be talked about. Wow, you've got a guy here who has looks like the exact same microphone that might have exploded, and it happens to be in his pocket. And this is not a regular. So stop with the Altoids, stop with the Zens, stop with all the garbage. Unless he threw them away, unless he gets to the arena and goes, you know what? I've always hated Altoids. You know what? The more I think about it, I should quit nicotine. Blah. No, it doesn't make sense. You have to explain why he shows up with it and why he doesn't have it when he's standing behind the guy telling the story about whether or not he got shot in the neck. That's what you have to explain that. So stop with it looks like Altoids. Okay, he just decided in the 20 minutes that all of a sudden he likes bad breath. He didn't like bad breath. Now he loves bad breath. Earbuds. Yeah, he threw his earbuds out in the middle of the show. He got tired of the earbuds. Come on, guys, stop trolling. This is what happens when you kind of get over the target. So, again, no one can say definitively, conclusively, that Butch Hibbs absolutely 100% showed up with a sabotaged microphone. But I want to walk through a few things here. I want to walk through something. One thing I want to walk through is a video Blake Bednar's put up, and I'm going to play his version because he slows down Frank Turek's voice at a certain point, and it sounds like Frank Turek is a demon, and I kind of love it. Sorry, that's where we are now. But he explains how Butch Hibbs even got here, how Butch Hibbs even arrived in this entourage. And I want to show you this because it's going to provide background for the next set of facts I'm going to show you, and those blew my mind. I sat here, I pushed back from the table, I put my hands on my head, and I thought, oh, no. Oh, no. You are out of your mind. You are kidding me. So let me play this first, and then I'll get to the you're out of your mind fact.
There's a whole bunch of TPUSA leaders there that want to pose for pictures. Charlie graciously poses for pictures. He posed for a picture with me, and we'll show this picture here. This is me, Charlie, and in the middle is Butch Hibbs. That's the brother of Jack Hibbs, Pastor Jack Hibbs.
And he came to the event, wanted to meet us both, so we took a picture.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious how he slowed him down there, presumably for emphasis, but he sounds like Lucifer himself. He wanted to meet us both, so we took a picture. Can I turn it up? I don't think I can turn it up. It's up as loud as it'll go on my end.
This picture was taken maybe 20 minutes before the assassin struck.
Now, here's what I want to play about this video. About 10 minutes after the assassination, Butch Hibbs, this guy right here, presumably that's the same Butch Hibbs, now without microphone in his pocket, walks up behind Adam from Life is Driving. Walks up behind Adam from Life is Driving. Hang on. Someone's asking me to put it on slow mode because of the trolls. So give me just a second. Let me do that. This is what you guys do to me in the middle of the show. Making me go to slow mode. I'll put a 20-second timer on you guys. You guys keep it up. It's going to get worse. I kid. All right. So now you, let me drop this back over here. Okay. So now you're going to have Butch Hibbs come behind, and Butch Hibbs is the first person to make the connection. Blake pointed this out weeks ago, maybe months ago. Butch Hibbs, this guy right here in the flannel, who appears to be saying, keeping to himself, is the first person to make the connection between the shooter, the alleged shooter, and the question itself. So I want you to listen to this here. He rolls this pretty quick. That's Butch walking there. He walks behind here. Now, this is, I think, minutes and seconds after the
Somebody
shot.
got a picture of the guy that got arrested. Is that the guy they cuffed? Apparently, I don't know. So I was up there on the balcony.
I saw a guy down there they cuffed and hauled off.
There was a guy down here getting video. There was people up there videoing down that definitely must have got a wide out angle.
Did you hear that he got hit for sure?
My son here told
He's
me
either
that,
hit in the neck or the chest.
yeah.
I've heard
chest.
mostly the neck, but I've heard chest a couple times.
I want to pause right there because Butch's question reveals quite a bit about his motivation. He said, did you hear he got hit for sure? You've seen the video. Is there any question whatsoever that Butch Hibbs knew that Charlie Kirk got hit? Butch Hibbs was 2 feet to the right of the tent. I'll pull this back up and show you where he was standing. He was standing right here. This is where he was standing. Butch Hibbs, he saw it. He saw everything happen. He saw the commotion all come over there, and he saw them carry him off in a bloody heap. So the fact that he's up there, he's like, oh, did they find out if he got hit at all for sure? Did they know that? This is not good faith questioning. And yes, somebody pointed out, this is the same Butch Hibbs who was talking to the bush where I believe people were flying drones out of. But I don't want to get into the drone discussion. People get all bent out of shape about the drone discussion. So I've left that largely alone to other people. But I can't think of any other reason somebody would be standing in a bush except to have shade so they could see their drone screen without drawing attention to the fact that they got a giant drone screen. That's the only reason I can figure out somebody would be standing in that bush. But I don't know that there were drones. I'm not getting into that conversation. So that was kind of the giveaway that Butch is not asking these questions. Butch is not asking these questions in good faith. So let's listen to what he says here.
I talked to one of the officers. He said he got hit hard. He just sprayed it in his shoulder.
Yeah.
That's almost like it was set up because the second speaker was the one talking about guns. And then the next thing you know,
Yeah, that must be.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that does sound fishy.
Yeah, it does sound fishy. It sounds even fishier that he was the first person on earth that pointed it out. This was hours ahead of other people on Twitter talking about, hey, wait a minute. They were talking about guns. They were talking about trans violence, gun shooting. Now, so we've got that out of the way. So we have a picture of Butch before carrying in his pocket something with the precise dimensions of a Rode Go Wireless 2, Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone. It's sitting off his chest the right amount. It's the right amount wide. It's the right amount tall. We have him wandering around talking suspiciously afterwards saying, did you hear if he got shot? That's weird. It was talking about guns, Well, that's weird. And then we have a picture a few minutes later, and it appears there's no microphone in his shirt anymore. There's no box in his shirt, whatever it was. And again, same guy who was talking to a bush earlier. So I was sitting here to my wife. We were doing this live today. She was in here. I was getting ready for the show. I wasn't sure if I was even going to do a show yet. And I said, based on what I talked about yesterday with the accurate energetic systems, I bet if that payload was an explosive and Butch ended up with it, I bet Butch was there to receive it. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, think about it. I bet you in Nashville, I know Butch lives in Heber City. I know that from his Facebook post. I said, wouldn't it be weird if there was a plane into Nashville from Heber City on the day the Accurate Energetic Systems contract was delivered? So let's review that real fast, just for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. This is wild, guys. This is freaking wild what I'm about to show you. So this is the list of awards to Accurate Energetic Systems. This is a high explosive manufacturer in McEwen, Tennessee. It's outside of Nashville, about an hour, give or take, west of Nashville. These are a list of their contracts. You can come over here and see the amounts. Some of them they get pretty small as far as defense contracts go, but some of them are pretty healthy. You see a brief description here, different types of charges, different types of kits, yada, yada, yada. The one we're looking at is this $400 and something thousand short-term contract. It's this one right here. So I will pull that up and show you the details of this, because I think this is pretty fun, pretty fancy. As you know, Brian Harpole told us via the Sean Ryan show that he started planning in earnest the Charlie Kirk event on August 24th. That was a Sunday. I suggested perhaps he meant August 25th, because who starts working on Sunday? Demons, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. So he starts talking. He's saying, well, we started in earnest on August 25th. That SAM 000 flight, for example, was August 25th. And so I told my wife, I said, I wonder if Butch came to Nashville, like if he ended up with the microphone, did he come to Nashville and pick up the payload? Like, where would we even begin to find that? So I was like, well, let me look up all the flights that came into Nashville that day. Actually, I started the day before. Maybe it was done on August 24th. So I go to Flight Radar. I look up all the flights on August 24th. I see nothing. I look up all the flights on August 25th, and I'm looking at a little private airport, not B&A, not the big airport, but John Toon. This is where the rich people fly out of. Let me see here. I don't want to run it away here. All right. So this is John Toon Airport right here. I go to the earlier flights. Oh, hush. Hold on. I've messed it up. There we go. I go to flight history. I go back to August 25 because this is how I did it. And I think it's just, you got to start an investigation somewhere. Let me just see if there's a Heber City, Utah flight into Nashville, because that sounds pretty rare. Check that out. Do you see that? Oh, I've lost it again. You can't blow it up because of the program. Oh, great. Trust me, it was there. I'll redo it here. Oh, gosh, I've made it entirely too large. There we go. This is August 25th. This is a Heber City flight landing. Right there. That's Heber City. That's a private jet. It's got the call sign and all that. I looked up the ownership of the flight. It's out of it's a private company out of Wilmington, Delaware. But that's it. It's a Heber City flight into Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to stop trying to blow it up. I didn't realize this was so finicky. There, it's as big as you're going to get it. I keep trying to blow it up and it just doesn't work. But that's it right there. Heber City comes in on August 25th. This is the day the explosive is ready to go, according to the contract. This is the day it has to be delivered. Now, you would think that's weird enough. So I said, okay, let me see if I can find his flight back. So I go to all the departures. I'm going to pull this down because I don't need to show you. I can't, it's hard to prove a negative. I start losing faith in my theory because I can't find a flight back to Heber City. I'm like, the guy flew in. In my working theory here, you pick up the package, you jump back on a flight, and you go right back home. Man, I looked through all the flights that day. I looked through all the flights the next day, the next day, the next day. I go to B&A, the big airport. Maybe he drove across town and flew out on a commercial jet. Did I find anything? And then it dawns on me. You know why I can't find a flight back to Heber City out of Nashville that day or the next day or the next day? A, because Heber City gets almost no traffic. Tiny little dinky airport. But if I'm right, and he's picking up a payload, an explosive payload, it is illegal at that point, and it's very dangerous to get on a flight with it. You've got pressure situations. You've got all kinds of electric things. It is illegal. There are federal laws that say you can't get on a commercial jet with an explosive, and you can't get on a private jet with an explosive. Yeah. I mean, guys, this is wild. And I'm thinking, okay. I'm not saying Butch Hibbs is the mastermind behind this, and he was the guy who orchestrated. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying he showed up to the event with something that looked like a microphone in his pocket. He goes over to the side where they're miking up Charlie next to the sound guys. That's not where he stood to watch. He just goes there and does whatever. Then he goes to the other side of the tent and he watches. And if you watch the video of Charlie and the Big Bang, is what I'm going to call it from now on, because I don't believe there was a gunshot anymore. You watch Charlie and the Big Bang, and he's on the other side, but he doesn't move. The moment of the Big Bang, he just bang. He doesn't even flinch. He just looks. And the guy next to him kind of changes his direction a little bit. Then he hangs around afterwards and he starts planting the idea of the gunshot related to the gun question. In other words, guys, it wasn't an exploded mic. It clearly was a gunshot. They were asking a gun question. Come on, draw the connection. I skipped the point where he was talking to a bush ahead of time. And then after that, after he plants the seed, then he's wandering around listening to other people, and you can see his pocket, and there's no microphone, or there's no 2x2-inch box or less. And now I go to the flight, and I find where this accurate energetic systems, which may have nothing to do with this, by the way. I'm just, again, investigating, speculating. They have to deliver this by August 25th. I would think you would deliver it, to a commercial location, and a guy happens to be flying in from Heber City, a tiny little dinky town where Butch Hibbs happens to live that day. And you can go looking at Nashville flights. Heber City is not a common arrival. It's not like we're getting Heber Cities 5 times a day here. I'm just telling you, I look at this and I think, yeah, it's possible that this is all just some weird coincidence. It's possible Charlie Kirk absolutely got shot in the neck. It's possible that a gay lover of a trans furry climbed up on a roof and on a moment's notice, less than a week's planning or right out of a week's planning, and he climbs up there and he happens to lay down at exactly the right moment. Nobody happens to see him. He had no idea if the roof was going to be covered. He had no idea if he was going to be able to get a good shot off. He had no idea if someone was going to shoot at him. Somebody was going to arrest him. Somebody was going to foil the plot. He had no idea. He just wandered up there on the off chance that he might be able to pull this off, the crime of the century. And he took a single shot with a 30-06. And at first, everybody said that Charlie had Superman trampoline neck. But it turns out 3 months later, they changed the story to frangible round because it's obvious nobody can get a 30-06 to stop inside a neck. And people keep trying and it keeps not happening. It's possible all that is true. It's also possible that this Heber City flight has some relevance. It's possible. It's possible that the guy who shows up for the first time ever at a Charlie Kirk event because he just wants to meet him, and he shows up with something that looks exactly like the microphone in his shirt, happens to be from the city, who had someone fly in on a private jet the day the payload was built. The alleged payload. I don't even know what Accurate Energetic Systems was making. And then it's possible that this plant, a month or so after Charlie Kirk dies, just happens to be wiped off the earth. An explosion happens and kills everybody inside. 16 people die instantly. That's possible. It's all possible. But I think if you're investigating this, if you're truly investigating this, all of this becomes a relevant inquiry. All of this becomes something worth looking at. Who was on that flight? The feds could find out. They could subpoena that flight in no time. They could get the manifest. If it's Butch Hibbs or someone he knows, there better be a damn good explanation what they're doing in Nashville. It's possible that they were vacationing. They like to boot, scoot, and boogie. Well, where's your return flight? There's no flight back to Heber City. That's possible. But how did you get home? Did you drive? Did you rent a car? I mean, this is enough to me that you go to a judge and you say, we really need to ask around about this. Like, it looks like there could have been a possibility that a bomb went off or a small charge went off in Charlie's shirt. So we would like to subpoena a plant that happened to blow up off the face of the earth a month later and just see what contract were they delivering. It was a federal government contract. What contract was it? Ask the federal government. They'll give it to you. They should. Maybe you could FOIA it if it doesn't have national security implications. Maybe they'll just tell you what it is. Maybe they'll tell you the place of delivery, the point of delivery, the time of delivery. It may not be this flight at all. It may not be the Heber City flight on the day that it said it was going to be delivered. Maybe they delivered early. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's a very suspicious set of circumstances to me. A very suspicious set of circumstances to me. I found something else that I think further supports. This is going to be, I think further supports the idea that, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. That something may have blown up. Do you guys remember there was this theory that circulated, that's still going around, I still see it sometimes, that he was actually shot from behind. He was not shot from the front. This is with the gunshot theory. And the people who subscribe to the gunshot from behind theory noticed something falling out of the top of the tent right after, like half a second or so after the big bang. And they thought, well, that's awfully suspicious. That looks like a shell casing. You know, like you fire a pistol and the shell casing shoots out of the slide of the gun and it falls to the ground. Not like a revolver. It just kind of spins in the cylinder. But on an actual pistol, the shell casing oftentimes is ejected, sometimes very violently, up in the air or to the side. I want to show this. I think I can mute it. Yeah, let me mute. Well, I don't want to mute it because the sound is kind of important, but I'm going to pull Charlie's head down so you don't see it. It's not important you see him, but I want you to look. They'll stop this a couple times. I want you to look up here and watch a piece of something fall down. What it looks like to me, in light of everything we've learned now, is fragmented ABS plastic.
Gang violence. Great.
Did you see it? I'll play it again for those that missed it. It falls down from right here. I'll play it one more time.
Gang violence. Great. Gang violence. Great.
And so what you have is, imagine I'm right. Imagine John Bray is right. Imagine so many others are right. And something did actually provide some sort of explosive underneath his shirt. What you would have is stuff falling. Fragmented ABS plastic falling. The Rode microphone housing is just plastic. And you would have that plastic falling to the ground. It would go out and come down. We talked yesterday about how that would provide a convenient excuse to need to pave over the place because each of those plastics would now have explosive residue on it. You could walk a bomb dog out there and he'd go crazy. Well, I think that's evidence. In my opinion, that did not look like a shell casing coming down. That looked like a piece of plastic coming down, which makes sense to me if his microphone did, in fact, give some kind of charge, either a directed charge or explode, period, end of story. So again, I go back to the same thing I did on the electrocution theory, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. I'm not married to it, though. I could be convinced there was no electrical charge whatsoever. I'm not sure I could be convinced there's no explosive charge whatsoever. I am more married to the explosive element, either an explosive charge out of his necklace or an explosive charge out of the microphone. I'm much more. And unfortunately, I can't show you in great detail because YouTube is going crazy tagging these videos and pulling them down or banning content or demonetizing or shadow ban. Really, when they demonetize, what they're doing is they're shadow banning you, because if they can't monetize the content, you guys get annoyed by the commercials. That's the only way people will see it. If I don't monetize it, if I click don't monetize this, it doesn't go out because they're not going to make money off of it. So why do they care if people watch it? Trust me, it's not like trillions of dollars. I mean, it's not going out on NBC News at the Super Bowl. I'm not making, $100,000 or whatever off of this. But that's why the commercials have to run. But if I show the image of the shirt blasting and everything coming up, then they freak out. They send me an email. They start yelling at me. I have to say, oh, it's scientific pursuit. And then I'm up all night. I don't have time tonight. I got to work tomorrow. If this was Friday night, maybe I'd stay up and fight it. I'd show it to you. But that I think is evidence, additional evidence that something was taking place. Now, I want to show you. Let's see here. Let me pull this down. Let me pull that down. Let me pull that down. I'm leaving that up and that up because you guys might argue with me in the comments, and I want to leave those up. I'll pull down all this accurate energetic stuff. And I want to pull up a video. I got to pull up a setup from Candace on this video if I can find it. This is why I have 4 screens in here, and frankly, it's not enough. Frankly, it's not enough. Okay, this is a timing thing. I don't know why I hadn't thought of this before. Candace Owens got in touch with somebody who took a first-person video at the scene of the crime. She reviewed the metadata. She's going to talk about it here in a clip I'm going to play here in just a second. She reviewed the metadata, and she determined when exactly that video was taken. It's an important video because it's the only video of the alleged shooter lying prone on the Losi Center looking forward. So I'll play that now, and you guys can take a look at what she has to say, and I'll show you why it's important, because I'm going to put the timing together and show you what was happening on stage at the precise moment the shooter allegedly got in position. Again, if no one at the stage was aware the alleged shooter was going to be there making a loud bang, then their behavior wouldn't change at all. Let me take her off and explain that one more time, why I'm showing you this. Now we have an exact moment. Candace has given us an exact second of where the alleged shooter got onto the roof, came in, got in position, and laid prone allegedly to take the fatal shot. Because we now have that precise second, we can go back and look at the theatrics on the stage and say, did anybody do anything different at that moment? I will suggest to you, yes, they did. And you're going to be surprised by it. Well, maybe not. Not if you've been following the last few episodes. But I will play this and let Candace do the talking. I don't want to just steal her material here.
The shot, and I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage, and the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shot. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of what the shooter looked like. And it was not the description that the entire world received less than 24 hours later of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear and he was wearing a face mask.
Okay. I played that part just to remind everybody how crooked this whole case is. But I want you to think about that timing. Go back and listen to the timing in your head. I'll walk you back through it, but I wanted to let her say it first. The metadata suggested that the recording started at 12:22. Charlie Kirk, the big bang happened at 12:23:30-ish, give or take. So if it started at 12:22, the very earliest the recording could have started was 1 minute and 30 seconds before the big bang. And it bled into the 12:23 minute, according to the metadata. And he said he stopped recording 15 or 20 seconds before the big bang, which means the end of the video could have been as late as 12:23 and 15 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds. So That's what we have to work with. Now, I want to line that timeline up with what was going on the stage at that moment. Oh, that's loud. Sorry, guys. I want to line it up so you guys can see the theatrics unfold with a new set of eyes. Because everybody who suggests that none of these people were involved, as new evidence continues to come out, it looks more and more likely that people were in fact involved. I can't say that definitively. I don't know. But it starts to look that way. So in this video, the shot takes place at, let me look here. Shot takes place at, 10:15. 10:15. So we'll go back to 9 because that's the very earliest, 8:45. That's the very earliest the guy could have started recording because she said it started at the 12:22 mark and it went as late as the 12:23:10, 12:23:15 mark. So this is the very earliest it could have happened. And what you have here is you have Brian Harpole in this front position in front of Frank Turek. He's looking down at the first few rows, and I have, if you wonder why he's looking there, I have this I couldn't play if you guys don't buy my theory here of where he talks about his area of responsibility, seeing less is more. I could go back and play all that if you need me to, but I'm hoping you guys just trust me. He's looking down here at the front few rows because that's where he says he looks. He says it's actually a waste of time to look up and away. So that's the beginning of the moment. Now, this video goes. We continue to roll. We roll. Here we have the feedback, yada, yada, all that good stuff. Now we're getting to 1 minute precisely before the Big Bang. We still have Brian Harpole here in front. We've got Frank Turek, for some reason, standing like that. We roll forward a little more. Now, I think we're about to where, give or take, the shooter gets into position. Here's why I say that. Let me turn the volume off. Here's why I say that. If you listen to what Candace said in that clip, and I could go back and play it again, but I don't think I have to. If you listen to what she said in the clip, here's what she said. I started recording. He ran from one side of the roof to the other, and he'd been there about 20 seconds or so before I started recording. I started recording, and then I stopped recording about 15 or 20 seconds before the bang, which means he was only in position about 40 seconds. He only got on the roof in about 40 seconds before so what we have is a timeline. This is 48 seconds before the bang that's on your screen right here. This would be very consistent with where the shooter is getting into position. I want you to watch Brian Harpole here. I want you to watch him carefully. He's the guy on the left in the blue shirt, kind of 3/4 sleeves. He's got a watch on, gray hair, sunglasses. I want you to watch what he does here. He's looking down. He's fiddling in his pocket doing something. I paused the camera here. We're now 80 seconds or how many seconds are we before the bang? 50 seconds before the bang. 50 seconds or so before the bang. Now watch where he looks here. He just takes a glance up into the distance. I don't know if you can see that because he's kind of hidden behind here. I actually used this right here as a marker to see where he was looking. He just looks up there for 2 or 3 seconds, and then he starts glancing around. Now watch where he goes. So this would be the shooter making his way onto the roof, or the alleged shooter making his way onto the roof, according to the timeline given to us by Candace's contact. This would be the alleged shooter making his way onto the roof. Can I block him out? No. Now watch what happens here. Brian took that glance up there. He's looking around. Now he slowly looks up again. And he slowly starts making his way back out of this position because now he knows we're getting ready for go time, assuming this theory is correct. Now he walks out of position. I will suggest this right here, that walk, could have been some sort of a sign, and here's why I say that. If you go back and watch the whole 10 minutes and 15 seconds of that appearance, Brian Harpole always is in front of Frank Turek. That's his zone of responsibility. That's why I have that Sean Ryan show clip pulled up. They are positioned in particular places for a particular reason. Every single person, Brian Harpole tells us, this is his team, keep in mind. Every single person is given a specific zone for a specific reason. Within that zone, he says you see less because if you look up and away and you try to look out into the distance, you see nothing. You see the mountain, but you don't see the details. If you look close to you, if you go person by person close to you, you're able to start seeing things. He just left his post. He just left his post. I could go back and play that Sean Ryan show interview. Let me show you. I will. I think it's important at this point to do it. I wasn't going to do it, but I'm getting to the point where I think it's important. He's talking about the zones of responsibility here.
So those areas of responsibility overlap. They don't go 200 meters out because there's a saying that in these guys, I always talk to them about it. We train to it is, you have your area of responsibility, but if you're looking out all over this, you're not going to see anything. You got to look at less so you can see more.
So if you're looking out, you're not seeing anything. You got to look at less to see more. And I've got him on video, and I don't know if you could see it particularly well right there, but I've got him on video seeing more, like seeing out, seeing less, I guess. He's looking way out at the horizon because I can use his glasses. His glasses relative to the speaker are lower than the speaker at all time. The angle is down below the speaker. He's looking in that front row. At the time Candace's witness tells us the shooter's getting in position, those glasses come up higher than the speaker angle. For the first time in 10 minutes, he's looking out at the distance. When he does so, he looks back down, sort of looks around at his feet, and slowly makes his way back behind Frank Turek. Not his area of responsibility. If you go back and listen to the Sean Ryan show, I'm not going to do it, but you go back and listen, and he talks about each of them have zones. They each get their own little zone. And the only way you would abandon your zone, somebody else would have to come and fill your zone. He says, I'm not going to fill that guy over there. I'll move to the next person's zone. I'll play it. I'll play it just because you guys deserve this level of critique here. You guys deserve this level of responsibility.
Right now, which we'll put one up. I mean, you have this entire venue broken into zones.
Areas
you
of
have people
responsibility.
scanning, different people scanning. Every zone's covered from scanning. Not only do you not just have scanning, you also have actual plainclothes security professionals within the crowd.
We're all dressed like, you know, we're just wearing regular clothes. We're not wearing suits and
Yeah, I guess I meant detached
not
from
uniform.
the detail.
Right.
Nobody really knows that they're in the
I
security
mean, they
element.
look it. They're not,
Yeah.
you know, they all have the look, right?
Mhm.
But they're not college kids. But
Yeah.
they're all tasked with an active responsibility for that area of responsibility. And
They're all tasked with an area of responsibility, meaning you're standing in a particular spot, you're looking at a particular zone. You're not supposed to wander behind Frank Turek.
they overlap.
Mm-hmm.
So those areas of responsibility overlap. They don't go 200 meters out because there's a saying.
And we've already watched that part. So I backed it up a little bit so you could see what he was saying there. But this is, I think, evidence that the actors on the stage, those next to the tent that was so creepily recreated at the Amfest, by the way, I think this is evidence that there was some awareness of what was going on up there on the roof. They make this huge deal about how, the Orem police were supposed to have the roof. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. You have one job. When you're a hired security contractor, you have one job. You know what that job is? You leave with your principal alive. He's breathing, his heart is beating. That's your job. Your job is not to pawn off on the Orem police areas of responsibility that everybody acknowledged they were a little weirded out by when they showed up. The roof is so high, the roof's all over the place. You're everybody's coming in on you. It's all funneled down on you. It looks terrible from a security perspective. They all acknowledged it. Brian Harpole acknowledged it. Frank Turek acknowledged it. They all acknowledged it. So I mean, I look at this and I say, okay, assuming it's a setup, again, you have to investigate, assuming these things are what we think they are. Assuming it's a setup, is there some connection between the timing where Candace's witness says the guy gets into place and things happening on the stage near the tent? Yes. Yes. The moment the guy gets into place is the first time Brian Harpole looks up and slowly slithers back behind Frank Turek. So yes, there is a connection in my mind. There is 100% a connection in my mind for what takes place there. Okay. I think that's, let me see. Yeah, that's him. That's him. I got that one. I got that one. I got that one. I think we've rolled through it. All right, I'm gonna leave some of this stuff. I'm gonna roll through some comments and if I have to go through some of this again, this was some dense material. If I have to go through this again, I will. I'll go through it as well as I have to answer the questions. But again, I want to be very clear. I have never, since taking this microphone about this case, accused anyone of anything. What I've done is I've raised questions to the surface so that you, the good folks, who I dubbed investigators yesterday, I knighted you an investigator. You have a phone, you have a computer, you are now duly knighted as an investigator. You're allowed to do FOIA requests. You're allowed to send emails and receive emails. You're allowed to do Google searches. You're allowed to look at plane flights. You're allowed to look at the dimensions of Rode microphones. You're allowed to examine the video. You're allowed to make connections between what Candace said, the timing of a guy getting in position on the roof was with what's going on the stage. You're allowed to do all this. There's nothing wrong with doing all of it. And I would argue it's even more important that you do it, the more that they don't cooperate and the more lies we catch them in. I asked Andrew Colvett a question on Twitter today. Did you lie, Andrew Colvett? Did you lie when you quoted that surgeon the first time? Or did you quote him accurately and now they're calling you a liar and you're rolling over and taking it? One of those two things seems to be true. I'm trying to find a third possibility. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it would be. But you're allowed to investigate these things. You're allowed to notice that Butch Hibbs shows up with a square that's precisely, nearly identically the size of a Rode wireless microphone. You're allowed to notice that. You're allowed to notice that he leaves without one. And you're allowed to ask, where the hell did it go? What did you drop off? Was it a 10 of mints? Was it a pack of nicotine? If it was, where the hell did it go? Did you get sick of it in the middle of it? Did you decide you liked bad breath? Did you give up the nicotine in the middle of the performance, 25 minutes between when the picture was taken here and the picture was taken there? You're allowed to ask. We're all allowed to ask. Butch, what was in your pocket? Where did it go? You're allowed to get on the internet and look up the dimensions and go, boy, those do look like the Rode microphones. And you're allowed to say, now, where did Butch Hibbs live again? He lived in Heber City. Is there an airport there? Oh, there is an airport there. I wonder if there's a flight into Nashville on the day the explosive was supposed to be delivered. Oh, looky there. There is a flight into Nashville from Heber City. That's weird. And you're allowed to say, I wonder if there was a return flight back to Heber City delivering whoever it was that came into Nashville back home. And then you say, no, there is no flight back to Heber City. That's weird. Did you move here? Did whoever flew in move? If not, why didn't they fly home? Well, did they drive? Who flies to Nashville from Heber City and drives home? It doesn't make sense. You're allowed to notice. We are allowed to notice. That's called investigating. When you notice patterns or pattern disruptions, you're investigating. You're investigating. You're allowed to do all this. That's not calling Butch Hibbs a murderer. That's not saying Butch Hibbs picked up explosives. That's not saying any Tennessee explosive firm developed explosives that were used at the scene. That's not to say any of that. That's to say, hey, these things all look suspicious when you line them all up together. Is there anything to this? Just like I opened the show. I'm allowed to say a SAM 000 flight flew to Colorado Springs that same day. Is there anything to that? Where was Vance that day? And I couldn't find out. And then someone says, oh, I was in the Oval Office with him. Here's a video of us. And here's how I can prove it was taken on that day. Here's the metadata. Look at the date. Look at the time. It was taken at 2:37 p.m. or whatever time it was. That flight had been gone over an hour. Okay. Sold. You proved it. That's the whole point. I want to know who was where. I think it's important. We lost a national treasure. I didn't always agree with Charlie, but I always agreed he was a national treasure. I always agreed he was a national treasure. I don't know if you guys ever heard Rush Limbaugh tell the story of the first time he met Charlie Kirk. This would have been not 10 years ago, but I mean, Rush has been dead a while. 8 or 10 years ago. He's telling the story about how he meets Charlie Kirk on the golf course, and he's like, kid's going places. I can tell you right now, that guy's going places. He just had a way. He had a way. He was a national treasure. And so I don't think anything should have happened to him. Major Dumas, John said that the explosion was most likely triggered acoustically. Could the trigger have been Hunter Kozak saying, great, the timing fits? I don't think so. I don't think great would have been loud enough. I think what he might be suggesting, and I don't know this, is that the bang that took place, the loud pop everybody heard, could have been the explosive trigger. Could have been the acoustic trigger, excuse me. I think that's what he was saying. I may have John on. I talked to John about potentially coming on the program answering some follow-up questions. I wanted to do the show based on what he said on Trigger Smart. I wanted to talk to you guys, the folks, get some feedback from email, comments, and then I would have a more productive conversation with John rather than being so arrogant to think I need to bring him on before I've had a chance to let you guys hear what he has to say. You guys help me. You guys help me a great deal on all this. Thank you, Living. Very generous. Canuck Bucks. Hi, Baron. Check your email for me. I sent it today. Important tip I sent to Candace as well. Very worth checking out. Thank you, Multi-Linda. I will do my best to find it. That email inbox is getting very crowded. I used to get like 20 to 50 emails a day, and it would take me 30 minutes or an hour to go through it. Takes a little longer these days. Sent 3 emails. Sent 3 emails, guys. Consolidate. The contract from last night with the contract prefix number 0164 for NSWC Crane. They do electronic warfare and explosives more in the email. Well, I'll check that out. Is this one from Accurate Energetic Systems? Because I can look that up real fast. Start searching awards. I will do that. Thank you very much. Submit, add, submit. Which one? It starts 0164. There it is. Production units, MK179 mod. Okay. What about it? What's the delivery date? It's not even done yet. I don't know. That started in May of 24, and it's not even at the period of performance hasn't even run. So I don't know. I'll look into it. Thank you. Sent 3. Oh, that's you. Spouses confide in each other about big things like threat of bodily harm or dropping a huge cause. With Erica acting unaware, is she hiding it? Or maybe Charlie Kirk didn't tell her because he learned the truth about her. I find it laughably dishonest that she says she was unaware he got these emails or these text messages from people, unless he was protecting her. I suppose that's possible that he was protecting her. But if you're telling Dan Flood and you're telling Andrew Colvette, why are you not telling Erica Kirk? Especially when Erica Kirk has a vested interest in your security. I find her playing dumb on this issue remarkably dishonest, to be honest with you. Returning to yesterday's video, I'm unsure about Blake's take on Frank's dark phone. I've seen several phones there, and they were all dark. My own phone is dark. That seems a weak observation. I have been following with intrigue the online Twitter discussion going back and forth about whether or not Frank Turek was looking at drone video. I'm unconvinced. I think he's either using his phone as a mirror or potentially part of a mesh network. There's really no other reason you would hold your phone. Look at that. My phone broke. See that? You see that? See what I have to deal with? You see that right there? Broke. But he's holding his phone up in such a weird way It's like no one holds a phone like this. You hold it like this, right? He's holding it like this. It's so weird. And I think he's either using it as a mirror looking behind him, or he's using it as part of a mesh network, meaning it's amplifying some sort of Wi-Fi signal for some sort of reason. Neither would be a good reason to lie and say you were FaceTiming. He was not FaceTiming. I don't believe he was FaceTiming. 2 photos of the guy on stairs show a crooked edge to the top right of his ear, but Tyler Robinson's ears are perfectly rounded. Their chin jaw also look totally different. I noticed that. I've not brought that up on the program because I try to keep the show to an hour and a half, and then I try to keep the comments to an hour and a half. I don't always succeed at both. But I try to keep it roughly balanced. You know, like you go to Mass, you got the Liturgy of the Word, and then you got the Liturgy of the Eucharist. 50-50. Halftime. When they're switching over, when they take the gifts up, that's halftime. Go to the bathroom, get a hot dog. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do all that. But I did notice that. The right ear seems to be different of Tyler Robinson and the guy walking up the stairs. And I think that's a problem for the prosecution. Certainly a problem for their narrative. I always thought Charlie seemed gay. It was simply just a vibe. Then seeing the lies coming out of TPUSA, I noticed there are literally no pics of Erica pregnant. None. Really weird. Some women don't like to be seen that way. I'll say this. If she did not deliver children, then she faked a picture in an operating room delivering children. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen that image of her. You know, I call it the curtain call. Women have that curtain call image when they give a C-section and they're lying flat on their back and they got that curtain up in front of them so they can't see what's going on, and the man's all up there behind their head. And I've seen that picture. The curtain call picture. I've seen it. So if so, then they staged a curtain call, which I think would be extraordinarily weird. Whether Charlie seemed gay, I don't know. I'm not sold on that. I know Milo's big on that. I know other people who've told me privately they thought that, but I'm not necessarily a believer of that. I do think he surrounded himself with a lot of questionable characters. Did you see the beginning of Erica Kirk's speech where she told that BS story about how Charlie used to tell his team to twist the volume knobs? She's trying to get out ahead of your research. I wasn't going to mention it. I was not going to mention it. But I'm telling you, yes, I noticed it. I noticed the things people push hardest back against. No one pushed against, well, maybe the shot came from the Losi Center. No one really pushed against, or I mean, maybe it came from the Sorensen Center. When Chris Martinson, who is a great guy, by the way, very smart guy, when he was talking about the different angles and, hey, maybe the shot came from over here, I was like, yes, that's where I thought the shot came from. And when people are saying, well, was it a small arms fire potentially from the crowd? They didn't say a word. TPUSA didn't say you guys need to stop. They didn't say you're dumb. They didn't say you're evil. They didn't say any of that. They just let the conversation go. But as soon as we started talking, or Candace, I guess, is the one that started talking. As soon as Candace started talking about the Fort Huachuca incident, all of a sudden we had to stop. It's gone too far. The Egyptian planes, the Fort Huachuca, it's way too much. You guys must stop. As soon as we start talking about electrocution, as soon as we start talking about potentially exploding stuff, now they're on a flight from Scottsdale to Nashville. Don't think I didn't notice the timing. Merry Christmas to you also. We're the contractors that paid over the stage area given special instructions, or have they been hospitalized or missing? I have not talked to them. I thought about reaching out to them. I even told a friend of mine I was going to reach out to them, and then I didn't because I thought, I don't want to be that guy. I don't like reaching out to people that I assume everyone else has reached out to. And I'm sure their phone is rung off the hook. And the second I call them, they're going to be like, I don't want to do that. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Julie Cameron. Many thanks to your family for allowing you to spend time researching and sharing your findings with us. Have never missed an episode since Charlie's neutralization. I will say this. My wife and I talked with great glee about the taking off till Friday. We even said we're going to have a day where we're Shabbat Shalom. We're going to put the phones away. Comes home. Shabbat Shalom. no phone. Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it. Putting the phones away, unplugging from the internet, lighting the fire, maybe get some marshmallows. I hate marshmallows, by the way. I despise marshmallows. But we talked about getting some marshmallows, doing a little roasting. I'm going to cook up some meatloaf and mashed potato for my 19-year-old daughter who's coming home tomorrow. It's going to be great. She wanted some meatloaf. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to be an actual family again. I love you guys. I love you guys. But it is going to be nice having a few days without having to research 20 hours a day. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for all your hard work. Well, thank you, Nicole. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Love your podcast. Really appreciate your work. Merry Christmas. Christ is King. Christ is King. Merry Christmas to you, Christ. Oh, Chris again. I thought you were a Christ agent. I was like, wow. Is there special training for that? You get a badge? Excuse me. I'm Christ agent 1823. I was very confused. I'm haunted by your suggestion that Charlie may have known something about the way in which he would die. I'll come back to that. This story just keeps getting darker and more sinister. Lord, shine your light on this. I do not suggest that he figured he would die. I questioned because of all of the facts. I questioned whether Charlie might have been aware there would be an attempt or a planned attempt on his life that he was willing to go through with up to the point of capturing the person who was attempting it. That's what I'm questioning. That's what I'm questioning. And I don't have an answer. I wish I had an answer. I was hoping to have an answer. I don't have an answer. And I'll tell you, the more people I talk to, the muddier that question gets. What I want is an answer one way or the other. I want to talk to someone who said, Baron, that's ridiculous. Here's how that can't work. Here's why that is impossible to work. Or someone who says, here's how they would have done it. Here's what it would have looked like. I cannot find an answer, and it's driving me nuts. Drive me nuts. Do I know where Charlie was the day of the Fort Huachuca meeting? If Frank Turek is to be believed, he was at home with Frank Turek. They were at Charlie's house, prepping for the big tour. Off topic here. Oops, sorry. With 2 full-time jobs now, how have you adjusted your CrossFit workouts? Majorly condensed? So, Drifter, great question. I actually had this conversation with my 2 closest workout partners today, who accused me of quitting CrossFit. I have not. Let me read you a small portion of the exchange. Let's see here. Baron is too popular to work out with us peons anymore. That's not true. I said nonsense. My job is too demanding. I am going to get back to it. I am still working out, but instead of working out, 6 to 10 times a week, I'm working out 2 to 4 times a week, and it's not enough. It's not enough. And I can definitely feel it. I don't feel as good as I did. So I am going to kick it back into overdrive, but I've got to rearrange some stuff on my calendar. I cannot burn at this pace for very long. I'm going to have to reorganize some things here after the first of the year. Did you see proof furnished by Alex Jones today on his show? No boarding passes, but another reservation from LA to Dallas on 9/8. I don't care about reservations. Reservations do not equal attendance. That doesn't mean anything to me. Look up Anne-Marie Vogades, who works for Amadai. She looks like Erica Kirk. Maybe Mitch mistook her for Erica Kirk. Merry Christmas. I have looked her up. She does look remarkably similar. It absolutely could explain it. There's no doubt about it. It absolutely could be an explanation for what is going on. But I don't know. And yes, I have a monitor on my floor next to my desk because I've run out of desk space. But yeah, I've definitely heard that. Thank you. I think it's time to share the picture of Charlie you have. Face cropped out, of course. It will help the grassroots investigation. We need it. I am working on it. I want to share it in combination with a story I'm working on. I promise you I'm working on the story. I don't want to share it without the whole story being written. Because if I do, it's not that it loses its impact. It loses its importance. Does that make sense? You got to have the whole story. And I promise you I'm working on the story. You will see it. You will see that part of it, a very small piece of it. In the Life is Driving video, minutes after Charlie was taken away, a cop tried to use the mic, but he couldn't get it to work. Everyone immediately ran off. Theory, it should still be on. Fried Mike. I think it was the guest mic. I don't know that for sure. I think it was the guest mic. Now, something I have tried to find in every single video, if you see it, let me know, is the mic Charlie was holding, because it, in theory, would have fallen down, and I did not see anybody come get it. But also, by the time that cop, I think that was the Detective Long, or Deputy Chief Long, that tried to use it. Buff dude. By the time he got there, it'd been like 10 or 15 minutes after the shooting. And I mean, the sound guys could have cut the power at that point. But I don't know. I mean, it's something to look into. Something to look into. Keep up the great work. Hey, mods, I left a comment on Baron's last video. I have valuable information regarding Erica Francevy and her connection to all this. I'm in Arizona. If it's anything that's been reported widely, I'm ignoring it for a reason. I'm not, don't tell me she worked for E3 Tech or whatever. Don't tell me she's got some way to gate off geographic locations and send them messages. I'm not interested in that. If you have something actually unique that's not being reported widely, all these other channels, then I'll be happy to look at it. Baron, thank you for your hard work. Thank you, Short Coin. Short Coin in the house. If intent was to use the mic explosion under Charlie's shirt to simulate a gunshot, as John Bray thinks, what was the plan to explain the absence of an exit wound? I think the plan was to make it a chest shot. I think the plan was to make it a chest shot. And I don't think there would have been an exit wound. But I don't think you would have noticed, because it would have been like under his shirt and they would have jumped on top of him and carried him to the car. So I think that was the plan. I don't think it intended to hit his neck. This is a good question, comes up a lot. Charlie was using a corded microphone. Yeah, he was holding in his hand an SM58. That's a Shure microphone. It's wired. It's got a XLR cable taking it to the soundboard. That's correct. Why was he also wearing a wireless microphone device? I've explained this, but if you weren't watching that particular episode, I'll explain it again. Happy to do so. When you're making video for the internet, a PA system is terrible. It is a terrible way to record audio. So you wouldn't want to, say this microphone was going to two giant speakers that were talking to 3,000 people. You wouldn't want to put that audio onto the internet. So what you would do is you would simultaneously record a separate audio track out of a different microphone. That audio would then go to your YouTube videos to push out for coverage. So that's a good question, but that's why. Criminal defense attorney here doing a lot of wrongful conviction work. I agree. You must discuss theories. Some turn out to be meritless, but some win the case. Your talent for investigation is amazing. Well, thank you, Angela Rainey. I appreciate it. I take a lot of pride in, look, I think a lot of criminals get lousy defenses. Not that criminals should be walking free, but you should make the prosecution do your job, or we're all in jeopardy. Like if courts get to the point where anyone charged automatically goes to jail, none of us are safe. This should be really hard to send someone to jail. That way we have a shot. That way we have a shot. Did you see my email about the chest strap used by pro video film people? Very common to use under shirts. I did. I see no evidence he was wearing one. I see one image of him as they're starting to pick him up and carry him away, which I cannot show on YouTube because they will force me to take it down. Or they'll strike the video. It's very bloody, but as they're picking it up, there appears to be some sort of like broken band, maybe it looks like, under his chest, but I can't really tell. I can't tell. If somebody has an image that shows any kind of strap or vest or anything at all under the shirt, don't show me anything from on top of the shirt. I've seen every image on top of the shirt I can see. There's one image out of all of them that has interested me, where I think I see something that I want to share with the audience. But again, it's part of the image I'm not going to show you yet in the story I'm working on. There's one image that excites me out of all of them. So don't tell me you see some vest under a t-shirt. I've seen that. I know what you're looking at, and I don't necessarily agree with it. But if you see the shirt up, carrying him to the SUV, and you see some sort of something under there, I'm happy to see it and review it. I need to know. What are your thoughts on Valhalla flipping on Candace due to her raising money for the Fort Huachuca dude? In the end of his 8-hour live stream, he said, "I've supported Candace from the beginning. Now war is on. You're done." He was drinking a lot of really good whiskey that night. That's my conclusion. That's my conclusion. He was drinking a lot of really good whiskey. 8 hours is a long time to be on air. You're about to say anything. You add a highly addictive, mind-altering substance to that, you're really bound to say anything. I don't think he thinks war is on. Maybe. I like them both. I'm willing to sit out and watch it and see how it goes. They can both take care of themselves. They're both big people. Big people in the big personalities. Big smart personalities. Not like, I don't think they're going to come to fisticuffs. I think that's another new thing done that day. Someone miking Charlie up. Candace mentioned something you have to talk to about when you collaborate with her. We, believe it or not, are working on a collaboration. So stay tuned. The steps are being taken. Let's say that. Steps are being taken. Jamie Kahn, thank you. Very generous. It looks like an Altoid tin, honestly, same size and shape. I've never seen a square one. I've only seen rectangle ones. Let's see here. Square Altoid tin. Now you also have to, no, it's not the same size and shape. You're wrong. Altoid tin is far too thick and it's rectangular. So you're wrong. There's no such thing as an Altoid tin that looks exactly like that. There are metal tin boxes, but then you have to answer where it went. This may not directly relate to accurate energetic systems explosion, but the amount of times the people in Columbia Spring Hill Facebook community pages ask who heard that boomer explosion is wild to me. It seems to be common here. You must have been on internet today, because that question was raised today on one of those two pages, maybe both of them. Yeah. There was a big boom today while I was getting ready for this show. I immediately went to Facebook and a zillion people were asking about it. I thought another accurate energetic systems blew. I still don't know what it was. It was huge. For proper grammar on X, the preposition, yes, Jill, that's exactly right. At what is he looking? Not what is he looking at? At what is he looking? Or at what is he pointing? Poll question for men will be important later. When you wear hats to events, how often do you take them off for long bits of time? Oh. Are you talking about Frank and Butch? Because they both had their hats off at various times. Interesting question. It would be very common to put more than one microphone on a subject for different cameras. Yep, that's correct. Nailed it. Nothing wrong with that comment at all. I like it. Was he standing in the back of the tent when the guys were doing all the signals? Can you pull up that picture again and see if he had it in his pocket? I looked. If you guys can find, you let me know. He is standing back there. He's standing next to a slightly chubby guy with short, kind of light hair, about my color, and has a backpack on. That guy does. And they're both standing there together. They didn't come in together, but they sure stood next to each other for a long time. And no one I know can answer who was the chubby guy, slightly chubby guy, in the backpack with the light hair. Nobody can tell me. Hi and Merry Christmas from New Hampshire. Has anyone mentioned a short video of Butch Hibbs called The Time Traveler? Butch, Charlie, and the guys walking up to the tent. The video was within the first few days of the assassination. I've not seen that. I've seen that video of them walking up to the tent, but I've not seen a video called The Time Traveler. I'm 47, lost my husband 7 months ago to MND. I don't know what that is, but I'm very sorry for you. Genuinely sorry for your loss. That's not a good time in life to lose someone, and I'm sorry to hear that. Erica should write a book on how to get over the death of your husband in 24 hours. I sense the sarcasm. Love you, Baron. Merry Christmas from Scotland. Love you too, Jeannie. Merry Christmas from Middle Tennessee. Hey, here, I'll admit, the gold sequin outfit was a little weird this weekend. Can we talk about Frank Turek's lopsided safety goggles? He's trying to pass off his prescription glasses. Does he get his eyes checked at Home Depot? You know what's funny? A long time ago on this program, I said, I don't trust anybody who wears glasses like that. They really do look like safety goggles, and I don't know why he wears them, except I know some people have eye conditions where they're losing one eyesight. They're losing one eye, and they wear very protective lenses of the other eye. Because if they lose that eye, and then they're going to be blind. So they're really protective of that other eye. That could be. I don't know the answer, but yeah, he looks like he's going shooting at all times, which is not the look that you want at a Charlie Kirk event. Not what you're going for. Yesterday, you were convicted let's see here. You were convicted to state the country's need for Christ, recognizing the incompatibility of all those who do not prioritize Christ first, the purity test. Charlie Kirk's death proves we need fearless words like those. Thank you. Beware people are telling you to stay away from a purity test. You have a right to vote for whoever the hell you want to. I know there are a lot of people who are going around right now saying, no purity test. You just vote for anybody. No, I'm willing to cut the right in half over this. And I understand it might take a few years to recover. But you know what? They were saying the same thing when Trump ran in 2016, that the right would never recover. It would fracture in a million pieces. Trump was destroying the party. The Republicans would be. You guys go. If you don't believe me, go back and read Ben Shapiro in 2016.
Why I will never vote for Donald Trump, ever, by Ben Shapiro. Donald Trump is a bad boy. I don't like him. Therefore, I can never vote for him. And I will not support anyone who ever has cast a vote for him.
They've been telling us this forever. You know what happens when we get with these compromise candidates? We get John McCain, we get Mitt Romney, we get Bob Dole. That bastion of conservatism out there pimping Viagra commercials when he loses. Yeah, don't buy these people that tell you that these purity tests are going to destroy the right. That's what they told us in 2016, and Donald Trump destroyed Hillary Clinton, and he wasn't supposed to. And we picked up House seats, we picked up Senate seats, and we've basically been doing nothing but winning elections now for the last 12 years. If we'd have listened to Benji, Tel Aviv Cruz would have gotten destroyed in the general election. We'd have had 8 years of Hillary Clinton. God knows how many years after that, and who knows what shape the country would be in right now. So I don't want to hear anything about any of them. You vote for whoever you want. Don't let them bully you. Do I think Don Jr. may have been on the 000 flight? I don't know if family gets a 000, but I don't know the answer to that. It could have just been a general visiting Colorado Springs because there's a base there. I just don't know why they wouldn't have flown into the base. That's the only thing. Hi, Baron. Can they track people's location by the advertisements that go to their phones? You guys are all doing such a wonderful thing for Charlie. I bet he is up there cheering you all on. Yeah, I mean, indirectly, you got to have pretty fancy subscriptions. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's not as easy as it used to be. Not as easy as it used to be. All I can say is I have the most trust in the judicial system. I have the utmost trust. Okay. Gotcha. Indigo, thank you. Generous. $5 a private jet from Delaware. Yeah. Well, it's a private jet registered in Delaware. Yeah, sure. That's exactly right. Merry Christmas. Keep up the work. But it looks like it was put, I mean, let me don't want to get too carried away on this Delaware part. It looks like it was just put into service as a charter potentially. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of it looks like it's based maybe out of Greenville, South Carolina. And it kind of flies on the East Coast, which is why I'm curious why it spent some time out there in Heber City. I don't know the answer. Just looking into it for the first time. Having so many people that seem to be involved, my theory is now that his passing was faked. This is the only way I think JD or some higher level person would have risked being aware. We don't know that JD was aware, to clarify. We don't know that. I don't think it was faked. I think he's dead. Now, whether or not there was a plan to try to fake an assassination attempt, I'm starting to wonder if maybe there was a plan to fake an assassination attempt and then the decision tree formed. Did some people take advantage of that plan and choose instead to neutralize him? Or was it accidental death? I mean, kind of stuck in the middle there. And I'm not saying I'm married to that either. I'm just starting to develop this idea that might be on the table. It might be it's certainly a live issue. Certainly a live issue. Baron's been cooking. The item in the pocket is definitely sus, especially if it's not some throat coat or special beard oil for that lion's mane he's got. I don't think it was a thing of throat coat. That was all in the van that the boys brought in. What is the square outline on Charlie's abdomen under his white shirt? You can see it best in tonight's photo number 1. Taken by Charles McClintock Wilson of Charlie and Butch. It's odd. Merry Christmas. I've looked at it a zillion times. I think it's just the way the shirt's folded. I don't know. I do have one image, and I will share it with you one day. There's one image of Charlie in a shirt that I see something from the outside and I say, what is that? One image out of all the images from that day, and there are hundreds of high quality images from that day. There's one image that I look at and think, what you got under that shirt there, baller? What is that? What is that? Sorry, so the Heber City flight went to Nashville, and the private plane is owned by someone in Delaware. Don't we know about a sketchy little airplane hangar in Delaware? Yeah, so you've nailed the facts. The Heber City flight did come to Nashville. The private plane is owned by a company headquartered in Delaware. And we do know something about a sketchy little airplane hangar in Delaware, a French-owned airplane hangar in Delaware. Yes, all those are facts, but I'm not sure that they lead to the conclusion some people are tempted to draw. So that's kind of my position on that. Legal questions. Legal to pave over the crime scene? I mean, it's weird. I think it raises a defense, certainly, for the accused. Legal to tamper with the crime scene, camera's chair. If the police had marked it off as a crime scene and then you break into it and start moving stuff around, that certainly would be problematic. As it was, I'm not sure that I would say it's legal. It's highly unusual. Legal to break a gag order, Harpole and Neff. The gag order appears to be being ignored by nearly everyone, and I'm not sure exactly how specific it was. Legal to remove evidence, the necklace. That's probably the biggest problem I have. But again, it's his personal property. The van allegedly, I keep saying van. The SUV allegedly had been cleared by the police, so therefore everything in the SUV. Now, I will say this. I got an email from someone who works for a car rental company. Does not want to go on the record. Doesn't want to lose his job or her job. If you work for a car rental company and you're willing to go on the record, I will bring you on air to have you discuss, and this is the only prompt I'll give you. Tell me what happens when people leave the scene of a crime with a gunshot wound victim in your rental car. Because the email I got was that their company policy was not to strip the car down to the studs and sell it at auction. It was not to clean out the car and change the carpet and give it a thorough cleaning and send it out to auction. The email I got was it immediately gets out of service and it's parked potentially for months at a time until the police absolutely 100% say, we do not want that car. We don't care about it anymore. You may do whatever you want with it. But it's wrapped up and set aside so that the car rental company, this is a national chain, the car rental company then can say, we didn't contaminate anything. We don't take sides in this criminal enterprise. So it's very unusual to me that wasn't done here, is what this person's conclusion was. That this is a long time, I don't want to say executive, manager in the car rental business, and that it is highly atypical that would have happened. But I don't know. Maybe that's just unique to their particular brand. Maybe other brands are like, hell, I don't care what you do with it. Sell it at auction. I would love to have someone on air. I will bring you on. I don't care what your conclusion is. If you say, yeah, we roll stuff through auction all the time, that's fine. We'll talk about it. Busy Mama 5 here. I have no clue how you find time to do all the amazing work you've done and continue to do. Thank you for your immensely informative videos. A very Merry Christmas to you and yours and to all of the chat. Yeah, the chat is great, by the way. I go back and read the chat. I read the live chat. Not all of it. You guys write thousands of messages. But I do read every super chat, even the ones I can't get to because of time. I do go back and read every single one of them. So if you put even $1 in, I will read your message. I may not read it live on air. I try to get to as many as I can. But when there's 200, 300, 400, I just cannot possibly get through all of them in the time I have allotted on that night. But I will read every one. I read some of the live chats. I read a lot of the comments after the videos post, believe it or not. My wife sends some to me. She sent me 2 or 3 last night. Like, you need to respond to this. You need to respond to this. So she's like my mini manager. It's hard. It's not just this. I have a full-time job. That's the bigger time suck. And end up spending, 50-50 these days in time. I wonder if the plant explosion lines up to when people were first starting to mention a possible microphone issue. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty close. Pretty close, believe it or not. Great job, Baron. Thanks. Happy holidays. Well, thank you. Thank you. Sure do appreciate it. I'm reading this one because I've had several people have asked this that I've not yet gotten to. Is that Mike Mikash, special effects artist, related to Butch Hibbs, member of Calvary Church, resembles VFX artist Victor Perez? Hey, I don't know. I don't know who these people are. I know it's supposed to be Butch Hibbs, and the before and after are both supposed to be the same person. In jest, I asked if they weren't because they kind of don't always look alike in every picture. Some pictures they favor each other. Some of them they look pretty different. So I raised the issue. It was fun, but the issue brought up. I'm glad I did. I'm glad we have a little fun on this program sometimes because the issue brought up the microphone issue, which I think is a very live issue. It's an explosive issue, a very explosive issue. So, yeah. There's Wilmington, Delaware again. There it is. It's there. Thank you. Very generous, Madeline. Oh, always watching. I'm always recording. Thank you. Very, very generous donation. Very, very generous donation. If Hibbs picked up in Tennessee, he would likely have driven it to NSWC Crane in Indiana. It's a short 3.5-hour drive north. Crane is the only place with electric warfare labs to build the device. Not able to FOIA this purchase. See my emails. Oh, I will check it out. I would then maybe this whole thing goes to crap because I don't know that Butch Hibbs would be the one delivering raw material. Maybe. I would think he would be there to pick up, like it would be delivered to an individual, like a military person. That person would say, "Here, you have it. Go, do whatever you want with it." Like, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's weird to me. There's a Heber City flight in Nashville at the private airport on that day. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm. But I will look into that. You said you sent an email? Yeah, I'll say you sent an email. I'll find it. There was a crypto crash on 1010. It would be interesting to see if the sell-off is related to anything. Yeah, maybe. Someone emailed me about a lot of crypto transactions that were taking place around, right in the lead up to Charlie Kirk's neutralization and the fallout from Charlie Kirk's assassination. There was a whole bunch of money going back and forth in certain accounts and like a dead period the day of. I don't know about that. I have to go back. So glad you received the email about the fragments. This has weighed on me for months. Thank you for all you're doing. Been with you since 370 followers and never miss a live. I receive a lot of emails. I receive a lot of emails. I don't know which one you're referencing, but I probably did receive it. I've 370 followers. Man, you were like, you might be a friend or a family member if you were around back then. There weren't many that didn't know me by name and hadn't been in my house when there were only 370 people. Did Brian give Bush Talker some Altoids? That girl passed out full cases of mints. She wasn't lying. Everyone had them. Did Brian Harpole give? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good email. I'll allow it. I sent you an email with screenshots of Google Trend searches spiking in late November to late December with searches like Disneyland bombing, Disneyland terror attack, etc. in U.S., Egypt, France, and Israel. The problem I have with that is if I'm going to have a terror attack, I'm not going to Google ahead of time Disneyland terror attack. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, other people might be Googling that for whatever reason. Like, has there historically ever been a Disneyland terror attack? And you're picking that search up. But no one who's going to do a Disneyland bombing is going to search Disneyland bombing. That's not a search term they would do. So I think you're on the right track. I think Google Trends is a very valuable tool, but I'm not sure that's the best use of it right there. But thank you for your generous donation. Person with a t-shirt with horizontal writing on the front then has a hit to the neck isn't going to make that horizontal writing rise at least 3 inches before the body even reacts to the hit. I'm telling you, I can't show it frame by frame because YouTube is stopping us from doing a full examination on this case. But you are exactly right. The shirt moves before the wound appears. The first frame is he does this little tensing thing and the shirt comes out and there's no hole in his neck. A bullet wouldn't do that. A bullet is not going to cause you to tense and have your shirt come out before the wound appears. Then the next frame is the shirt comes all the way up and then the shirt comes down. Then the hole appears, but there's no blood. Then a piece of rectangular something with right angles falls out of the hole and then the blood starts flowing. That's the mechanics of what happened. That's not a gunshot. I'll be honest, as much as 3 weeks ago, I was convinced he got shot by something. But I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the worm started turning in my mind and I stopped referencing it as a gunshot on this show. And in anticipation of going with the potential the electrocution theory. And later when I saw the ABS plastic fragments, the maybe dual nature electrocution and exploding microphone theory. I think there's legs to that. And for those of you who said, oh no, the exploding microphone has been thoroughly discounted. They are trying to discount and they send their best mockers out at the things that are over the target. That's the way it works. Legal questions. 1, if Erica's legal team has no additional info, what were they doing since 9/10? Gaslighting us. Lying to us. Making fun of us for no reason. That's what they've been doing since 9/10. 2, how can Erica have Charlie Kirk's phone? Now, the police gave it to her. 3, autopsy legally required? In Utah, my understanding is yes. 4, legal for the FBI to take all hospital video footage. Legal? Probably. Unusual? Highly. Highly unusual. Of course, there's a lot of highly unusual stuff in this case now, isn't there? A lot of highly unusual stuff. The Holy Spirit and your guardian angel are working through you, and it is beautiful to behold, Brother Barron. I said a rosary for you. You're so close, Detective Coleman. Praise God. Keep going. I'm doing my best, Christina. All prayers are welcome. All prayers are welcome. Thank you for your very generous prayers. Have you considered starting a Patreon to share your full analysis and thought process behind your investigation? Thanks for all you do, and God bless. I have considered starting something where I can show a little more video footage because YouTube is pretty restrictive. And I got to figure out how I want to do that. So yes, the answer is yes. I've considered it. I don't think it would be Patreon as a platform. There's some other platforms that I like a little better and trust a little more. I want to go up on a platform that I'm not coming down off of. Like if I, whether that's Rumble but I think even Rumble has some weirdness about blood and gore. And I want to show you some of the images that you can see what I see because it's game-changing to me. Game-changing. There was a huge explosion at that explosives plant on October 10th. Yeah, it wiped it off the map. Like it doesn't exist anymore. It destroyed it. It absolutely destroyed it. Notice Hunter is rocking back and forth nervously while the first guy is asking questions. The rest of the crowd is standing there normal, and he's rocking back and forth like Rain Man. Rain Man, go Max. I haven't given you my Rain Man theory. Rain Man was an op. I'll answer your question in a second. I agree with you that happened. I'll tell you why I'd recognized it. Rain Man was an op. When Ronald Reagan signed that vaccine safety bill or whatever in 86 or 7, whatever it was, they knew what was about to happen. They knew autism was going to explode. And so what they had to do was convince us it was a superpower. And so they introduced us to a Dustin Hoffman character who could count matches and cards and a little quirky. But he was like a superhero. Rain Man. All right. Now, yes, Hunter should not have been nervous. Hunter has been on podcasts. He's been on TV shows. He's hosted events. Hunter should not have been that nervous getting ready for the event, nor should he have been practicing his shocked face. But he did both of those things. Allegedly. He has some explanation for why he was doing that, but I don't buy it. Is it possible the explosion was actually detonated internally? For example, a 1 to 2 millimeter explosive squib was placed inside throat candy and synchronized to explode with the sound of the gunshot. You mean inside his body? No. No, I don't buy. I mean, dude, you swallow the throat candy whole? That's weird. If you mean it was in his pocket or whatever, why would you use throat candy? There's so much other electronic material on his body. How would you get an electric charge to the throat candy? I don't buy it. I mean, it's possible something exploded, but not throat candy. It's a shame because the government is going to do whatever they want, no matter what evidence is dug up. They did to JFK. They're going to do it again. I agree. All we can do is find the truth, pursue the truth. That's it. Pursue the truth. I'm reading this because it's funny. Butch had a couple of Trojan Magnums in his pocket. Big feat, a joking Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. That was funny. Made me laugh. I appreciate humor. Can't discount an Altoid can. I can when they're the wrong shape. Altoid cans are rectangle. I even tried to look up on Google square Altoid tin. I came up with nothing. There's no such thing that I can find of a square Altoid tin. I find rectangle Altoid tin. So yes, I can discount it. Wasn't it weird that Brian ended up with a can of mints? I don't think he ended up with a can of mints. I think he ended up with like prepackaged mints, maybe some throat coat. It's plausible the original mic was switched with a tampered mic. What's the name? Leonardo DiCaprio, that meme where he's that's it. Placed in the can and then given to Brian to discard or put back on Charlie Kirk. Oh, I didn't read the whole thing. Can I take it back? Maybe Charlie Kirk braced himself because of what he saw. Are there videos that show where his eyes were looking right before? Maybe on Hunter's face? Just pondering. Interesting question. I don't hate it. I don't hate that kind of questioning. Ground or SUV trunk shot timed with explosion. I don't know what that means. Oh, shot into the ground or shot into the SUV. If you're going to shoot in the SUV, just shoot a blank. Like all you need is the bang. You don't need anything else. There's echoes all around. Let's see. 8 kids. Yes, 8 children in my house, or 7 still in my house, but 8 have grown up in my house. My sister has 7, is a stay-at-home mom, and is asking me the questions. Happy I'm able to provide more questions to her from you. Happy Christmas to you and yours. Happy Christmas to you. Yeah, 8 kids. We make it work. It's fun. Our house is never quiet. Almost never. I feel so basic. I sent you an email today, too. Cash Money Kells. I think I read that one because I think in it you said my name on YouTube is Cash Money Kells. It's regarding Brian Harpole flight alibi. I did read it. I might have evidence the flight was canceled in exchange for flight credits inside. Okay, let me let you guys in on a secret. This is a great opportunity to explain this. First, Cash Money Kells, thank you for your email. It was, I did read it. Don't tempt me. Don't try to tempt me into responding to an email, though. Like, I don't have time to respond to 2,000 emails a day. If you have information you think I might want, send it. Don't say, hey, I figured out the way the sun works. I've got the secrets of nuclear fusion. Would you like to hear more? No, I don't want to hear more. I might want to hear more if you just friggin' told me. Just tell me. If you have evidence the flight was canceled in exchange for flight credits, one email. Don't make me dance. I don't like to dance. I did read it, but I didn't respond because you asked me if I wanted more information. I'm not doing that. I don't play that game. You either send it to me or you don't. If you send it to me, I'll read it. If you don't, I'm not. Thank you, though, Cash Money Kells. Very, very generous donation and informative email if I could get the second half of it. I am dangerously charming. Ooh. Tig. I guess the noble part of the name Baron is doing some heavy lifting. Your wife is a very lucky lady. I agree. Very Merry Christmas to your whole family and happy birthday to Jesus. Heart the vids. Like the video, subscribe, share, notifications, all that kind of stuff. we used to have a joke. I used to have a joke whenever anybody was like, "You're a very lucky man." I'm like, "Oh, that means you want to have your way with my wife? Why would you say that?" Like, so I guess is the reverse also true here, Tig? The answer is no. Thank you for the generous donation. Thank you. Is there any chance Erica Kirk can be a fraud and is just going along with expectations? Merry Christmas to you and your family. Well, there's certainly a chance she's a fraud. I don't know that to be true, but it sure kind of seems that way, if we're being honest, among friends. She's certainly underqualified for her present job. I mean, her main qualification is like, well, I don't want to be too ugly, but she did at least two things that qualified her to be. She at least did it twice. That qualified her to be in the job. If that's your qualification, Charlie was there from the beginning. 18 years old, out there with Bill Montgomery, banging the streets, learning how to talk to small donors, learning how to talk to vendors, learning how to set up events, learning how to interact with people on a very small basis, and that kind of grew over time. Erica walked right into a $250 to $500 million organization, and she puts on gold sequins and walks out to like fireworks. She didn't build that place. She showed up halfway through its development and then like wouldn't go in public for at least 18 months of that because she wouldn't be seen in public pregnant, and apparently can't fly when she's pregnant. So I'm not saying she's ruining the place, but I'm saying her instincts should not be trusted by anyone at TPUSA. The place is on the brink, and I've never seen a place better funded that is on the ropes. Like, public perception wise, the place is drowning. But for the fact that they have $500 million probably in cash in a bank account, they would be sucking wind. And it's sad to me because he did build that place up. I mean, with some donor cash, but for the last 13 years, like, it took some time to get that place to what it is now. You go back and look at their early financial statements. It was a couple $100,000 here, $1 million there. And $1 million goes pretty fast when you've got staff and you've got travel budget and you've got this and that. Those first few years were pretty lean. Neither he nor Bill made very much money. Tough for Harpole to pass the buck when Dan Flood got a message from Charlie the night before saying, "I think they're going to kill me." Yeah, and I wonder why Andrew Colvette didn't contact somebody and say, "Guys, Charlie thinks someone's going to kill him. Well, we should take this seriously." Maybe Butch flew from Nashville to Tucson. I understand it's illegal to fly with explosives, but ultimately these are private planes. If the government is involved, I'm just thinking, don't they just do what they want? Yeah, I was just trying to find a reason he didn't fly back home. And I was thinking, oh, well, he can't fly back home. He's got explosives. Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to break the law, you can do whatever you want. I don't know where he went. I don't know that it was him. I think it was. I mean, it was someone from Heber City, like the booming metropolis of Heber City that flies into Nashville like twice a year. Just so conveniently happened to do it on the day that some explosives were due to be delivered. I don't know. I'm just, guys, make of it what you will. I'm not saying Butch was involved. I'm just saying it's pretty creepy stuff when you put it all together. Didn't someone at TPUSA make a comment about picking up Charlie's bloody mic? Weird that anybody would call attention to that. I don't recall that. I think I remember Ben Shapiro making some awkward metaphor about picking the microphone up out of Charlie Kirk's bloody hands, and I thought, ugh, brother, don't you have a way with words? Thought on the timing. The trigger from the distraction on the roof could have been attacked to a remote control of sorts. This roof was set up just to provide a louder bang. Are those Charles kids or maybe the ex-boyfriend? I would assume they're Charlie's kids. Let's not get carried away. I'm going to take all that at face value. He's the putative father. I think legally is what he would be considered, because if you're married and your wife has a child, you are the putative father. Regardless of the fact that when they do paternity tests, it's not always 100%. But the law considers you the father if you're married at the time of the birth. Could the bang? Yeah, I mean, the bang certainly could have set off an explosion. Like, you could have a trigger set off with a loud bang. Yes, if that's your answer. If that's your question. One of the planes on timeline is usually operated as air ambulance, but used as a commuter flight. Can't find the info related to that plane if medevac flight was connected the day he died. I noticed that. We talked about that on this program maybe a month or so ago, month and a half ago. It was a while back. We did talk about that. It was a flight that came out of Cortez, Colorado, through Blanding, Utah, onto Provo. We covered that. Pad 1 Holdings owns the plane, located near an address Candace is investigating in Wilmington, Delaware, connected to the hangar for Egyptian flights. The registered agent is connected to that address. We have no idea where Pad 1 Holdings is located, nor can we know because they're incorporated in Delaware, which is one of the reasons people incorporate there. And since Charlie's a national treasure, you're going to put a photo here behind you next to Teddy. Makes a lot of sense. God bless you and your family. Probably not. Probably not. Actually have two photos that have been on that wall that are not currently there. One is of Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II. And one is of Malcolm X holding an AK-47 next to a hotel window. I thought that's a little aggressive for YouTube, so that's not up. I don't know. I have to think about that one. I'll have to think about that one. He's a national treasure, but he wasn't despised by the media, and that's kind of my standard here. All of these people were despised by the elites in the media, and Charlie really wasn't. He kind of went along with them, which is kind of put him in an interesting category for me. It'd be interesting to explore whether the 16 AES employees on site at 7:45 a.m. was typical. Meeting, shift change, overlap. So there was one guy who did an interview saying he had clocked out at 7:37. So apparently there was some kind of shift change taking place. There was one guy who was an employee of there. I don't want to go into that yet. There's a future show coming on all this. And I'm not rolling it out at 2 hours and 3 minutes into this show. Because then I'll have to start pulling stuff up and I have to show you why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm not doing all that. There's a future show coming on the explosion at AES. And it's I think it's going to be a good show. I don't know when we'll do it. Sorry for the 3 emails. The purchased order of the one you showed last night had prefix N00164. That is the code for NSWC Crane. No parent code confirms this transaction is a standalone one-time purchase. Okay, so yeah, what you're saying is that went to Indiana. Okay, fair enough. I'll look at it. I've got it pulled up right here. But the thing is, it's a $10 million order. And it's a 18-month order, and we don't have the specifics of the delivery. Like the acquisition details just says explosives, demolition material. So I'll have to think about it. I'll have to put some thought into that one. Am I the only one that gets the feeling all the Turning Point management is completely compromised by PsyOps? No. I feel that same way. From Erica Kirk all the way through the secretary and everyone that is now conducting the Charlie Kirk Show. The creepily and morbidly named Charlie Kirk Show. By the way, I don't know if this is true, but I used to drink a lot of booze. And when I drank especially a lot of booze, my face would get all swollen and I kind of looked weird. Go watch the Charlie Kirk Show today. Tell me what Andrew Colvett looks like. He looked like he looked like hell ran over his face. He did not look like himself. He either partied really hard at TPUSA or he's under a lot of stress. I sent you an email on the funeral director speaking about how they place the hands. This freaked me out. I typed in mannequin hands and Amazon popped up. You can buy them on there. Guess what? The fingers are separate. What? You can buy mannequin hands on Amazon? How do you spell mannequin? Nequin. Mannequin hands. You can buy them on Amazon? That's disgusting. But they do look just like Charlie's hands. But that's disgusting. I'll show you these. Great email or great donation. Check out that. Blech. Let me pull this down. Thank you for the very generous donation, Light Giver. They do kind of look like that, though, don't they? Oh, they got an overall pick in case you want them before Christmas. Need a set of mannequin hands on the fly? Guys, we can wait. If you need mannequin hands, it can wait. I don't need overnight delivery. I don't need them before 8 a.m. Holy mackerel. That's creepy. Boy, those do kind of look like the Charlie hands. Did they only pay $20 for that image? Oh, gosh. Look at those. Yeah, they're small, too. All right, I'm thoroughly creeped out. I feel like I'm going to be sick now. Gross. Thank you for the donation. Very generous. Why off CK in such a public forum? Too many moving parts. Why not just off him in private? Multiple reasons. One is if you off him in private, somebody has to have details about where he is and when. And it becomes a lot harder to act like it's a psychopath. Two, if you want to start some kind of war against Islam or trans people or leftists or whatever, you have to have a leftist blamed. Three, Charlie Kirk wasn't such a high-profile figure that had he just been killed walking to the mailbox, it would have dominated the news for 3 months. People would have gone, oh, that's weird, and then it would have been over. But it was such a horrific public tragic death that it just captivated the country. I mean, everybody paid attention to it. 4, when you do it in public, you send a message. You're not safe anywhere. Like everybody knows someone could kick in their front door and kill them. Like that's just a known fact. But you think when you have a security team of 13 people with you and you go out in public that you're safe. Most people, you, me, most speakers, I don't know what kind of security Tucker, for example, carries, or Candace, or Tim Pool's freaking out about security. I don't know what we do. Whatever he's angry about. But most people don't travel that heavy with 13 people doing security. And so if you want to send a message to everybody, hey, don't mess with us. That's how you do it. You do it in public when he has 13 security people show up. What did you think of JD Vance when he went on a spiral looking at conspiracies? He never really finished the thought. Made me think he's not fully buying the narrative, the speech at Amfest. No, it made me think he buys the narrative completely, or at least is supporting the narrative completely. He's trying to send the message, I was once where you are. This is a very common tactic. You'll see this in religious settings a lot. Someone comes up with you see this in Bible studies, for example. Someone comes to a conclusion that is not your preferred conclusion. You say, oh, no, I once saw the Bible that way. Then I learned the following, that's step 2, and now I see it this way. That's what he was doing. It's an old Bible study trick. Like, you don't want to offend somebody and say, what are you, an idiot? That's not how you read that. I don't know. Connect, redirect, confirm. So I once was where you were. I once looked into all these conspiracy theories. I spiraled. We're connecting, brother. You and I are one. But then I learned that those conspiracy theories just aren't supported. And now I'm confident that it is the official narrative. It was Tyler Robinson on the Losi Center roof with a 30-06 with magic bullets. So that's all it is. Connect, redirect. That's what he's doing there. Photo, video, metadata is trivial to edit. Yeah, I thought about that, but this person's credible. Like, you don't just accidentally end up in the White House, and you would lose all credibility if you privately texted or privately emailed someone and said, hey, I was in the White House in the Oval Office with the Vice President of the United States. And then it turns out later you weren't. I mean, you lose all credibility. I would burn that person to the ground if they tried that crap. Like, I'm totally willing to keep everybody confidential. You lie to me, burning you to the ground. I mean, burning you to the ground. Here's the person's name. Here's what they were covering up. Are they in on it? And they know that. They know that. Do you think Charlie may have been threatened or his family was threatened? So he decided to fake everything. No, I don't. I am telling you right now, if you're going to ask me whether I think Charlie faked his own death, save your money. I'm not gonna change my mind on that. Not unless new evidence arises. And you won't have to pay to ask. I will tell you the day I change my mind. I'm late to the stream, you might have said, but the SAM flights are all correlated to HexS location and the numbers for the SAM mission specific. Sent an email. I'm willing to buy that. If it's, why would he be flying as a SAM 000 sometimes and a SAM 702 others, or a SAM 682 or a, whatever, SAM 707 I saw the other day? Why is he flying under different? I mean, I understand why you'd fly under different SAM designations, but why different levels of SAM designation? That's what I don't understand about that. That's why I think that SAM 000 is somewhat different, but maybe not. How do I send you a tip? What is your email address? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is realbaroncoleman@gmail.com. realbaroncoleman@gmail.com. Speaking of, I got to show you something. I formerly had an X of Real Baron Pod. That is no longer my X handle. About 5 years ago, X stole my X handle from me, or Twitter did at the time. Twitter stole my Twitter handle from me. I am now back to Baron Coleman. That was my Twitter handle from 2007 until 2020, when Twitter decided they'd had enough of your humble host. And so I have been appealing to get that handle back for 5 years now, and I finally logged in today, and they had an option. Would you like your old X handle back? Like, yeah, I do. Click the button. There it went. So if you are trying to find me on X or Twitter and you can't, it's because my handle has gone back to the handle I had all the way back in 2007 when I was a young pup. All the way back then. Did I notice when Erica said she didn't realize Charlie's impact until once he was assassinated? I did. I didn't draw a lot to that. I know a lot of people are trying to say, she anticipated he would be assassinated. That's not how I saw it. For those investigators thinking Erica did not give birth to her children, there's a video of her on Instagram getting her ultrasound, and her mom's also with her, saying she was or wasn't part of this, just sharing about the kids. I'm with you. She looks like a woman who's had a couple of kids. I don't mean that in an ugly way. I just mean that, like, you can tell a lot of times when someone's 36 and hasn't had kids. And you can tell she has. Plus, I saw the video of her, or a picture or video of her doing the curtain call. And I thought, you wouldn't fake that. That's a little too much. Merry Christmas. Have a gay old time on your break, but not the Flintstones kind. Thanks for all your hard work. I'll do my best, Slim. It will not be a Flintstones Christmas around these parts. No, sir. You want to tell a narcissistic Erica Kirk post a pic? Hold on. Post a pic. Erica Kirk post a pic from, or, oh my gosh. Ann hides all her pics being pregnant. And then ignores the kids now. Hands faked. Posted discard later specs. Check open trunk. Man, that's a lot going on there, Leslie. I agree with the pregnancy photos point, honestly. I don't know that I understand the rest of it, but thank you. Your thoughts on Tyler Robinson's attorneys? I don't know them. One related to Terrell Farnsworth. That's the rumor. I don't know that that's true. Emailed you a Charles McClintock Wilson pic of a lady at UVU that day resembles Kathleen Nestor. I think it actually ended up being a dude, of all people. Anything here? I don't think so. I think that's a dude. I don't think that's his lawyer there. I don't know what I make of them, because they're not really saying much. So we won't really know potentially till the preliminary hearing, which I think is in May of all times. So he's, I really don't know what I think of them. Maybe they're just doing a bang up job and they're going to just blow people out of the water at this probable cause hearing. I don't know. I've been watching every one of your episodes since Ian covered the disappearing Rob McCoy sermon during your live. Crazy episode. I love how everyone working on this is lifting each other up. Yeah, Ian's been invaluable to this program. getting this program some momentum. I watched a cool video of Ian tracking a flight in real time. He was looking and doing some research like 7 a.m. and fired up his things like, I found a plane. We're going to talk about it till it lands. It was cool. Like he's great. I watched his Las Vegas shooting thing the other night. It was awesome. I learned some things and I covered a lot. I did hours and hours of Las Vegas stuff back in my old radio days. And I even learned a few things. I would love to talk to him about that because I think I see a few of the things a little different than he did. But it was a very entertaining, informative episode. Ian's phenomenal. Very, very smart guy. Very smart guy. Do we think the bomb factory legitimately exploded? Yes. Like exploded off the planet. There's nothing left. See if I can find. Look it up. Do accurate energetic systems before and after picture. Like whole buildings, nothing. Unless like David Copperfield showed up and look over there and then disappeared it. Like he did the Statue of Liberty one time on TV and everyone. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you for all you do. Loves my dog and cats. I'm doing my best over here. I'm loving my dog. I don't have a cat. I used to have a cat. Could the cross have gotten in the way of the charges that was set to go into Charlie's chest? Would make sense if somehow got in the way and altered the angle of the explosion, setting it into his neck. Yes. I think the cross could have accidentally. So this is a good question. Not the cross necessarily, but the chain. So the first thing you have, it's being mistaken for cavitation. The very first frame is a little puff from right here. Before all this moves, you get a puff right here. I think that's the mic coming out away from his chest. I don't think it's sent any kind of shape charge, and I don't think it's fully exploded yet. We're talking 1/60th of a second. I mean, like, faster than you can. It comes out. At that moment, the necklace starts moving back, and you see a puff come up behind him. Like that's what people are interpreting as cavitation, because you see this shirt come all the way back. But when his shirt comes back, his hair goes out. Your hair is not subject to cavitation. You have a skull. And so when that hair comes out, what that tells me is he's either being electrocuted, that's an option, or potentially co-determinant factor, but there's air from the release of energy from what's going on over here. So this comes out, and then all of a sudden this comes back. Well, that release of energy could have pulled the necklace back, bringing the charm up into his neck. Now we're talking, remember, these things happen at thousands of feet per second. So you could be releasing enough energy, thousands of feet per second, to mimic cavitation on the neck, drag everything in sight along with it. It's like a tornado times a zillion. Tornadoes go a couple of 300 miles an hour, and they like run fence posts through walls. If you get hit with shrapnel, it's like it's going to go through you. This is 25 to 50 times that fast in just an instant. And so I think, again, I'm not a physicist. I've not run all this down to the nth degree, but it makes sense to me that initial puff was not a bullet, because you see no wound. You just see this right here. There's no wound on the neck at that point. That's not how bullets work. He wasn't shot. And then the puff in the back could now rocket, because it's going at, again, 10,000 miles an hour, 10,000 miles an hour, 10,000 feet per second or more. It's now turns this into into a bullet itself, and it fires it in the neck. I can see that happening. Or the necklace itself was self-propelled, like it had its own propulsion. I can see both. I don't think it would have redirected. It's not sturdy enough to redirect the charge. But I can see that happening, yeah. Did I see Tyler's filed a motion asking the judge to disqualify the Utah County Prosecutor's Office? I did. Apparently, the lead prosecutor is related to the witness. A prosecutor is related to the witness. I don't know about the lead prosecutor. Certainly not like the county district attorney is not related to a witness, but I think that's what the earlier commenter was asking about with relative to Terrell Farnsworth. I think is the lead suspect of who that might have been. I sent you an email about 20 minutes ago with a video that really supports the microphone theory. Thank you for all your hard work. I'll look at it. You don't have to try to convince me. I mean, you know, say less. I'm a fan. You are spectacular. Well, J.Y. Wheeler, you are spectacular and a very generous donator. Smart, funny, great investigator. Merry Christmas, Baron. If that is in fact your real name, Merry Christmas to you and your family. It is my real name. It's written on that wall like 16 different times. I don't know if you can see it. It is my real name. I actually took a lot of those down because some of them were even. It started to look a little vain back there. You know, every time you get admitted somewhere new, they give you a certificate, and at a certain point, you just go with what you got. Go with what you got. Thank you for your work. This is growing. This is a growing organic effort by citizen journalists, and you are my favorite investigator, analyzing all aspects with humor and charm. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for flattery, even false flattery. I'll allow it. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Hope Bean. Wow. $100. Very generous. Merry Christmas. Good work. Great work. Merry Christmas and enjoy your family. I will. We're going to have fun. We're putting the phones up. So if you try to reach me in the next day or two, well, tomorrow you'll be able to reach me because I got to work all day. So I'll be checking X messages. I'll be checking texts. I'll be checking emails. But I would say on Christmas Eve and Christmas, I probably will not have access to my phone. So that's I think it's something we're going to do here in the Coleman household, just to let the old brain relax a little bit. Take time for family, and we will be here when you get back. God, family, country. Aloha from VA. Well, thank you, Hope. Very generous, and we'll do that. Aloha to you as well. From a cradle Catholic to a better Catholic than me, I love your laugh. Aw. Thank you, Lynn Maria. And I don't know that I'm a better Catholic than you, but I'll allow it. It's the best medicine in such disturbing times. I wish for you and your precious family a Christmas filled with blessings and joy. Go Max for Truth. Thank you, Lynn. In all seriousness, Merry Christmas to you. And thank you for your very generous donation. Do we think the bomb factory legitimately exploded? Yes. Meaning, did someone explode it to get rid of Oh, do we? So it legitimately got wiped off the map. No question about that. The question is, did someone do that in order to hide evidence and witnesses? Well, that's my suspicion. I mean, that's legitimately my suspicion. I mean, it's a bomb factory. You would think they would know how to not blow up. This is very close to my community. It was like 2 counties over. So I'm not joking around about people dying. Trust me. But I mean, bomb factories don't typically explode. Like, the whole point of a bomb factory is you know how to make a bomb. So obviously, something went terribly awry. Deb Curtis, thank you, Deb. Deb de Curtis, thank you. Someone emailed me and made fun of me trying to pronounce people's names. Well, I don't know him. Mikey definitely knew what was about to happen. His first call should have been to 911, and he wasn't writing back. That's why he kept his backpack on. We raised that issue. I think it was an emailer, and I read an email that somebody wrote. It was excellent. Very good email. Is a good one. Does it bother me that Fox News and the Republican Party are still hanging on to the Fed slop narrative? Yes, it does bother me. Do you think the Dems will go after TPUSA and friends? Why would they? Why would the Dems go after TPUSA and friends? They're doing their bidding. Like, you can't argue with that. I mean, maybe on a couple of very tangential small issues, TPUSA differs from the Democratic Party, but not really. I could go into more detail later. I need to. Deb, back for more, Deb. Thank you. Thank you. If you didn't intend to donate twice, your next donation's on me. Mark Modi's daughter, Ryanna Modi, is a former Navy surface warfare officer. What? I'm taking a picture of that one. Are you serious? Well, that's interesting. So let's see. Ryan Modi, Navy surface warfare. Is that true? I don't see anything off the top of the Google hit. But what? I will have to do some more research into that. I'm leaving this up and I will dig into that. That is an interesting lead if true. That's a very interesting lead if true. 140 Canuck bucks? Are you out of your mind, Cheryl? Thank you so much. Holy mackerel. Everybody loves Canuck bucks. Everybody loves Canuck bucks. I don't typically check my text when I'm on air. I don't know why I just grabbed it, but that's why I don't check them. There's too many. 47 of them right there. I chatted a 0 before I started 2 hours ago. And look at Heidi Love Unfiltered. Rise podcast interview on Archaics. She researches Mormon Mafia and cult roots. She says Patsy Zinn is Mormon, not Jewish. Massive network with gov agencies, money, CIA. I might. That doesn't. I mean, sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. Wow. Brilliant, Baron. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Pete. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you as well, Amamara. You guys make me sound like I'm drunk. I swear I quit drinking. Oh my gosh. Did I miss the date? Oh no, it's in 5 days. In 5 days, it will be 3 years. 3 years sober in 5 days. I'll be back on the air before then. What day is the 27th this year? What day is the 27th? Pulling up a calendar. Pulling. The 27th is on a Saturday, so I will not be on the air with you guys. I will not be celebrating with booze. That will not happen. I had to hop off for a bit to help out toddler bedtime. Any mention or thought about Butch catching a flight back with a surgeon whose plane can't be tracked? No thought whatsoever. I don't think that guy flies over here. No, I don't think so. And someone did, by the way, send me a list of all his flights that hit the ADSB exchange. So, wasn't there a chubby guy running across the roped-off roof walkway? There was. What an interesting way, Stephanie. What a non-body positive way to describe him. Yeah, he was chubby, all right. Yeah, I'm not going to show the video because that's just cruel. Because watching chubby people sprint is interesting. Yeah, I think honestly, if I'm not mistaken, he may have been the security guy that Brian Harpole's team posted up there. And then he came running. I mean, he was barreling. It reminds me of like when an offensive lineman picks up a football and it's a fumble and it's their moment in the sun. It's their time to boogie. You know, they'll get it one time in their career. You get this like 337-pound guy and he picks up the ball and he's like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. Chubby. I think Chubby's racist. We can't say that. Ben Shapiro voice got me dying. Ben Shapiro's voice gets me dying every time. Every time. I couldn't get over the image of them carrying Charlie Kirk. I couldn't think of one good reason for it. They were holding him to keep the plastic inside his shirt. Thank you for being a beautiful example of our faith. It certainly appeared that they were in a hurry to get out of there for some reason. I surmise, my gut instinct is, my opinion is that they were doing it to hide evidence. They didn't want anyone rolling up with a paramedic bag or calling an ambulance or anything like that. They wanted him in the SUV where they could control the scene without outside interference. That's what it looked like to me. I mean, they just dragged him out of there. They took no care or caution with his neck. I have the proof. I watched that video of him on 910 hundreds of times that day. I cannot see it originate from under his shirt. On my left, his right, near his pec. I just chalked it up to me being crazy. I can't not see it originate. Yes. That's called gaslighting. That's the definition of gaslighting. You are told not to believe what you're seeing. That's exactly right. Guys, the shirt moves. There's no wound. Bullets don't work that way. That's not how it works. Not how it works. We've been hearing booms here in Central Texas. This is not whiskey, by the way, or this is not white lightning. This is water. I don't know if you've mentioned it before, but near Colorado Springs, there is Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Once a secret underground base, Bunker City, was outed by selfie Hillary Clinton posted. Was it secret? Wasn't that in War Games in 1980? Like the old movie with Matthew Broderick? Didn't they go to Cheyenne Mountain? I don't think it was secret. Charlie was spreading the word about JFK assassination. What if his cross necklace was God's divine intervention to cause the mishap to the neck instead of the chest? Perhaps his death exposing it all. Interesting theory. How did they coordinate the injury and the shot? Purpose of Tyler Robinson was only to bring a remote controlled firing mechanism, hence no barrel in bag on roof. I don't think it was Tyler Robinson. I think it was someone else. I think that person was meant solely to draw your eyes away. If that person made any kind of noise, yeah, it was some kind of blank noise maker. I don't think it was a shot from the roof, which would explain Candace's witness saying that the barrel didn't move. It was like it was not a 30-06. Like you fire a 30-06, they don't have springs. It's like firing a cannon. They're huge. You fire a gun on a spring like an AR-15 that's got a gigantic, I mean, it just, like you don't move. It's very gentle. And he suggested it was more like that. Well, yeah. May 1 is the date of the Charlie Kirk, the letter Charlie Kirk wrote to Bibi. We love watching you. My mom watches you with you and refers to by say, isn't that funny little Catholic guy on I'll allow the rough verbiage there just to get to the funny little Catholic guy. Not that little. Not Ben Shapiro. Funny little Catholic guy. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll allow it. I've been called worse things today. More Shapiro impressions, please. Today and yesterday, I think you paved out the closest to the true story that unfolded, at least at this point in time. I had a lot of help. I didn't do that on my own. John Bray did yeoman's work on that. And yeah, he and I see it slightly differently, but you know, that's a group effort to get to where we are on this. And I do think I think the electrocution and the exploding microphone theory have opened up the discussion that maybe he wasn't shot. And that I think is an important discussion because I do not believe anymore he was shot. I don't think any foreign object from outside the immediate vicinity invaded his neck. Some kind of shrapnel invaded the neck, and I don't believe that was planned. I believe it was intended to be a chest wound. That's where I am. Now, if new evidence comes forward, I will change my mind. But I don't believe the surgeon. I think that guy, I don't believe Andrew Colvett talking to or about the surgeon. I don't believe anything Erica Kirk says. I don't believe anything Blake Neff says. He's been proven to be wrong twice. I don't believe Mikey McCoy. I don't believe Rob McCoy. I don't believe Dan Flood. I don't believe Frank Turek. So the evidence is going to have to come from somewhere else. Do you think the Bondi shooting was a false flag by Israel? It's no secret Australia doesn't like what's happening in Gaza. I don't know. That's not my jam. Like I don't cover Australian mass shootings. I know probably less than 98% of this audience on that. I just haven't looked into it. I mean, I could see it being a false flag by Israel. I could see it being a mass shooting. I don't know. I will say this. There was a lot of eyewitness video of that, which is highly irregular. Most of the time when there's a mass shooting, everybody runs for the hills. Everybody's just kind of standing around filming. That was a little different. Home of the holidaying Mossad agents. What is that, New Zealand or is that Australia? All y'all's flags look alike. When Brian Harpoon, oh, I like that, Harpoon, moved his site, I would love you to speak with the person who does a little dance just before Harpole moved. Did someone do a little dance? I don't recall. I'll have to go back and watch that. I saw a new video today. Charlie Kirk hitting the ground from his 5 o'clock. I don't think I've seen that. It looks as though blood came out of his right ear. I don't know what theory it supports. I've not heard it mentioned anywhere. I would be shocked if blood came out of his right ear. Could you share that with me? realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to look at that. I don't think I've seen that from his 5 o'clock. I've seen one from like his 4 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock, but I don't think I've seen the 5. I converted to Catholicism. I love it and feel so much closer to God. Attend Mass every weekend during the time and still have the evil one trying to scare me, make me doubt my choice. I win. Hey, Linda, you know how when you get close to solving a crime that's as big as the Charlie Kirk crime, as soon as you get close, everybody comes freaking out and they tell you to stop and that you're evil and stupid and you've got to, and you're destroying the right wing, and they'll fly Erica Kirk across the country to sit in with Candace Owens and tell her she absolutely has to stop no matter what. You know how that happens? Where do you think those demons learned that? From the demons themselves. That's what happens. You know, they tell you when you, they should have told you when you convert. Now that you are converting, this is any Christian. Now that you're converting and you're giving your life over to Christ and you're really going to try to do the right thing, they're going to hit you 10 times as hard. And as soon as you get your soul right with God, if you don't fill it up instantly, stay in the sacraments. If you don't fill up your heart instantly, your soul up instantly, you're opening a home for the demons to come and reside. So dive in. Welcome home. I hope the Tiber wasn't too cold as you swam across, but now you're home. Welcome home. Baron, Merry Christmas. Keep up the good work. What about the guy who disappears under the table on the right? I don't know that I've seen a guy disappearing. What about the guy who comes up in the midst of the guys working on Charlie? Ooh, I don't know that I've seen a guy come up in the midst either. Blake Bednarz, if you remember him, we had him on a couple of shows ago. He put up a video. West Texas is the best Texas is his YouTube handle. And his Blake Bednarz is his X handle. He put up a 5-minute frame by frame, super slow version of the aftermath. I think YouTube might have taken one of them down, or made him change it a little bit. But if you watch that, you'll get a really keen understanding of what everyone was doing. And maybe some people you thought it appeared out of nowhere didn't really. Maybe they actually were there. Rental car companies are protected by something called Graves Amendment and vicarious liability, but getting rid of that car would have voided that for them. Aha! That is why the person said the cars just sit there after in lives with the Graves Amendment. Now I'm going to take a picture of this. This is an excellent use of $50, sir. Thank you. I'm going to take a picture of that because he didn't use the word Graves Amendment, but he told me like they would get fired from the top. Like the CEO on down would fire everybody if they start getting rid of cars that were involved in crimes like that. I don't know what the Graves Amendment is. I'll look that up. Graves Amendment rental cars. Vehicle rental or leasing company cannot be held liable for injuries caused by a renter unless the company's own negligence contributed to the crash. Okay, so you're saying that goes beyond to the aftermath of the crime. I'll have to look into that. That's a very interesting point. More people need to talk about how it's likely the ballroom is cover for an underground AI data center for surveillance military meant to avoid public oversight. A+ evidence, the Dre dossier. I mean, honestly, when they built the new wing on the Capitol or they redid all that, you remember all that dirt they pulled out and all that concrete they put? What do you think they were building down there? They're building something. The ballroom, I don't know about an AI center or whatever, but I guarantee you it's not just a ballroom. You don't take down a wing of the White House and build a new wing on top of it and be like, yeah, we're just going to dance. We're going to put in some hardwood floors. We're going to cut rugs. No, dog, that's not what they're doing. I learned so much from your show. I only found you from Candace's last video. So glad. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you, Su Ping. Welcome to the program. There are lots of episodes. You're more than welcome to go back and watch them. I don't know what number this is of the Charlie Kirk series. 35, maybe 34, 35. I'm going to be a little pickier now because we're getting on 3 hours. Here we go. Has the FBI ever addressed why they are involved in the investigation in the first place? No, they have not. This was not an interstate crime. Why is this not just Utah jurisdiction? That's my question. I've been raising that issue. I've raised it many times on this program. I have no idea why the FBI is involved, but they're stopping good people like Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard, allegedly, I'm just going by news reports. Allegedly, they're stopping good civil servants, good people like Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard from trying to figure out if there's an international element to this. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center should be able to oversee an investigation of the assassination of American political figure. Sorry. I will never understand why that's not the case. Merry Christmas from us Canadians. Autism is a superpower, saying. Check with Ian. Ian is a superhero. Is that what he's got a little touch of the tism? He is so smart, man. I like watching his videos and watching him just put stuff together. I just sit there and awe. Baron, in regards to how everything played out, military precision and secure communication, also providing possible mesh relay signal boost, etc. Brian Harpole's self-confessed specialist private app. Yes, he said they did have a private app that they used to gather information about these appearances. He did say that. Sent an email last week, not regarding Charlie Kirk, someone else who's in prison with the appellate brief for your thoughts. I also said maybe you should tell your viewers, but read receipts so you know you read it. I did. Did I read it? I'm not reading an appellate brief, I'll tell you that. No offense, but I've got 2 full-time jobs. I'm not taking on a third one. Jeepers creepers. Never. But thank you for the donation. Let's see. Here we go. If Brian Harpole did fly with the package, he wouldn't have flown to Heber City, but to Colorado Springs, where the big meeting was taking place. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is someone came in from Heber City to Nashville on the exact same day the package was supposed to be, or the explosive was supposed to be delivered, according to the federal contract. Now, that federal contract explosive has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. I kind of think it might. The fact that it blew off the face of the earth a month later, that sounded like a cleanup job to me. I don't know. Maybe it's all coincidence. Could all very well be coincidence. I don't know. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thank you from a big fan in Japan. Well, thank you. Akuike. Thank you. I'm not making fun of your name. I don't know how to pronounce it. But thank you very much for the generous yen. I'll be stacking yen, Jen. Explosion of the Tennessee plant off. I did deep tie with ChatGPT. There was a woman owner listed under the LLC. My concern at that time was that it was intentional terror. Number of people killed was remarkable. What's known, I have a list of the people killed. I have a list of the people killed. I have a list of the people who used to work there and don't anymore. I have a list of the new people that were on the job less than 3 months. And yeah, I mean, I've looked into it as well. We're going to do some more on that. There's a show coming on that plant and why it might be involved. Whether it is, I don't know. But there is a show coming. I'm going to pull Gary's talking crap about you big time tonight. I don't care. You know why he's doing that? Go look at my numbers. Go look at his numbers. That's why he's doing that. You don't punch down. Hold on. Let me do something here. I hate to do this. All right. Paramount Tactical. We're on his stream here. Okay, guys. I'm going to do it. I hate to do this. This is vain, but I'm going to do it. This is why he's talking crap about me. You see what's going on here? 7,000 views, 5.4 thousand views, 34,000 views. Do you see what's happening here? 18,000 views, 33,000 views. That's why he's talking crap about me. 294,000 views, 405,000 views, 204. You see what's happening here? I don't want to do that. I hate doing that. But come on. That's why he's doing it. I had to do it. Someone's saying don't do it. I had to do it. It would be like me fighting after Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? It would be like me trying to get Joe Rogan's attention so he'll pay attention to me because that's good for my channel. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So, all right, now I got to get back to where I was. Sorry, guys. Where was I? There's the Graves Amendment comment. Scrolling. FBI involved. Autism's a superpower. We're getting down here. We're getting. There's the yen comment. Oh, there's Gary. All right, we're back. I hated to do it, but I had to do it. Is it possible that Charlie Kirk still be alive? No. Not in my opinion. Lots of stuff about Valhalla from many officials. There's an island in the U.S. uses. Could this have been a Hollywood-type production for him to disappear? I will say this about the Valhalla thing. The White Plains, New York, with the plane going there and there being a little place called Valhalla next to there, that was the first time I was like, yeah, maybe. But no. I don't believe it. What about the Valhalla military training with civilians that happened August 24, 26? I can't remember where it was. Just wondering if you could explain the SAM 000. No, that would not explain it. I don't think. That wasn't in Colorado. I don't think it was. Brian Harpole and Butch Hibbs had the same shoes on. Look at Butch Hibbs' clown shoes and Brian Harpole in the Sean Ryan video. I don't know if that means anything. I don't either. Maybe they're popular clown shoes. I don't know. Car rental companies authorize insurance to send direct auction. Biomatter cleanup required as typical CO policy. Car rental companies authorize insurance to send direct to auction. Yeah, again, that might be the guy who emailed me. That might have he was not working for Hertz. Okay, but I'm going to use that as an example. Maybe that's the Hertz policy. We just segregate it from the fleet, and it just sits there, and then we don't put it back in service. We don't clean it up. We just leave it in case the police want to come back and visit it. That way, our hands are clean. Maybe that's like their company policy, and there's some other companies that do it differently. I don't know. That's why I said I would love to talk to somebody, some expert. This guy wanted nothing to do with the record. Lynn Costantini, thank you. Dude, that was FaceTiming. Forgot name. Could he have been using his phone for someone else to see through the camera, being their Google Glass to get his vantage of Kirk? Interesting. You know what else I noticed? Speaking of Google Glass, when all the security guards came over, go watch the Blake Bednar's video. I'm not going to pull it up because I think he either got a strike or they told him to take the video down, one or the other. So I'm not going to play his video. But when they all leapt over the table, one of the things I noticed was they all left their sunglasses on in the shade underneath the tent. So that's one thing. Number two, in the middle of all that, one of the guys reaches up, and I think it might have been Dan Flood, reaches up and turns his glasses on or off, one or the other. Like, bro, how do you have time to do all that? That's weird. That's really weird, in my opinion. We live in a culture that pushes violence in movies, games, and music, yet you can't show anything without repercussions. I believed it was staged and Charlie was still alive until they paved over where he was. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Michelle. Very generous donation. Thank you for that. Yes, there are so many gory, violent videos on YouTube, and they're striking the Charlie Kirk videos. Really? Like, this is a national tragedy we're trying to solve. That's where you're going to draw the line. But hey, they're drawing it. I'm going to obey. Thank you for the super sticker, Sonia. Very generous. Does Mike need to be set off by trigger? Could that be what Harpole was doing? That was the theory that Blake brought to the program a few episodes ago. GBT says streets only shut down for heads of state. Where was Netanyahu. Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. Wow, Shannon. Thank you. You're the bomb diggity. Well, thank you. You're the bomb diggity. Very bomb diggity donation. Thank you. It's a new age in investigation. You are one of those leading the way. Merry Christmas to you and yours. And thank you for everything you do. God bless from Alaska. Well, thank you. That's incredibly generous. You guys are so very kind. You make it honestly worth the 8 to 10 hours it takes or more to prepare each episode, plus the 2 to 4 hours to do the episode. You guys make it worth it. Love your channel. Studying for the LSAT on January 9th. Go back and listen to Eric Kirk's interview with Jesse Waters at what she says she did the day before Charlie's murder. I will have to go back and listen to that. I don't know it off the top of my head. Good luck on the LSAT. It is about the only thing that matters. At least it did when I went to law school. Oh my gosh. 23 years ago. Ugh. I graduated 20 years this May. Where does the time go? Holy mackerel. I remember when I started practicing law, I thought the lawyers who'd practiced like 5 to 7 years were the old guys. Never get to be that old. Came quick, so to speak. You've been amazing and have opened up conversations in our home. Well, good, Doppler Dawn. I'm glad to hear it. My husband has started paying attention because of you. Merry Christmas. May God keep you and your family safe. Thank you, Doppler Dawn. Very kind donation, incredibly kind donation. And communicating with your spouse is key. Like when that communication shuts down, it gets cold. Please spend time together. I'll be honest. I tell couples, take a bath together. Like you can't get more vulnerable than that. You're both naked. You're both sitting there in water that not covering everything, right? And you got nothing to do with talk. You can't have an electronic in your hand, nothing. You just sit there and chat. That might be too much for the kids. But anybody having trouble in a marriage, say, hey, let's go take a piping hot bath. Even if it's a small bath, it'll be fun. Blue Cheer, very generous, very kind. Blue Cheer, at some point when you donate, I need to know what that horse is. It looks like an antique object of some sort. Like not antique, like a archaeological object. And I'd like to know. Sam callsign also used for foreign dignitaries. Do we know if BP or Zelensky or others were in town? I don't. Happy to take your guesses or evidence at realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. High pressure air discharge, no frag. Forced to a point could cause penetration and catastrophic damage, where entry wound and exit wound would be the same wound. Interesting theory. One problem I have with it is if you watch it in super slow-mo, which side was it? It was this side. Something looking pretty solid with right angles came out. I know it's gory, it's gross. You're going to have to watch really closely in slow motion to see it. But it happened. And that's not air, and that's not a bullet. Yeah, I've got 8 kids. Why does everyone act like that's crazy? Like 2 generations ago, that was pretty normal. 5 generations ago, that was lazy. Like people would have questioned what I did all day. Cardiac rhythm rebel. Wow. A cardiac rhythm rebel? I don't think that's something you want to rebel against. Like keep me in sinus rhythm. I want to be in rhythm, cardiac rhythm rebel. Thank you for that very generous donation. Very, very kind of you. I sent you a photo of an electrocution injury. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of them. Some of them are pretty disgusting. It's really seems to be time dose dependent. If you just get a second or so or 2 seconds, you're not burned as bad. If you get stuck on something for like 30 seconds, you're pretty gruesome. Have you thought about if a small mic might have been a tracker for a drone shot? Tracking beacon on might cause mic interference. I've not thought of that, and I don't think that's true. Have I seen Taylor Marshall's videos? I have not. I like Taylor Marshall, though. I am convinced Andrew Colvette and Erica Kirk conspired to kill Charlie Kirk because they are sleeping with each other. I am not convinced of that at all. That is not my theory. That is Dean QZ8HB's theory, Andrew. I'm trying to convince Andrew to come back to the light side, Dean, and you're saying he's womping around on Charlie's wife? Come on. You're undercutting my mission here. I'm like staring into the camera like, Come back, Andrew. Come on. Find those Catholic roots. Find that truth. Come on. Join us. And you're over here saying he's womping around. Money's always a huge motivation for killing a spouse. They had motive and the means. I mean, I'm not denying they had motive and means. Well, I'm not denying they had means. I am denying they had motive because I don't think that they were, smashing. But that's your theory. I'm not going to tell you it's, Mark and Shawnee, $400? What? Thank you. Gosh, I genuinely had a feeling like right here in the bowels when I saw that. Thank you. A little something for the Sour Littles Fund. So this is where I hide them from the kids. I hide them in the drawer back here. Hey, just for that donation, I'm opening a pack. You guys have to listen to me smack. Thank you. If you guys are wondering, this is what they look like. The Sour Littles, they look like little Sour Patch Kids. But they have no corn syrup, none of the bad stuff, just the good stuff. It's like vitamins. Thank you for that very generous donation, Mark. It's incredibly humbling to get another one. Ivan. Baron, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for all your hard work and diligence. Unplug, slow down, and enjoy the holiday with your family. You've earned it. Thank you. And for the record, I love your laugh. Christ is King. Well, thank you, Ivan. I appreciate that. Did I tell you we had a bird and the bird laughed like I laughed because it lived in my bedroom when I was growing up? And it was a dove. And somebody said, well, doves don't mimic. And then they heard the dove laugh. And they're like, well, that dove does. It laughed just like I do. My laugh has been the same since I was a kid. I can't control it. I can't help it. Now my mouth is watering because I'm looking at my little Sour Little. See that, baby? Look at that beauty. Look at all that. That's powdered, sour, sugary goodness. If you've never had this, is not a paid promotion. I get these at Target and on Amazon. They're amazing. Absolutely amazing. If your kid likes Sour Patch Kids, or if you as an adult like Sour Patch Kids, but you don't want your kid to get all the heavy metals and disgusting, horrible chemicals, burn nastiness that comes in corn syrup. Corn syrup is devastating. Do not have it. These are a great alternative. Thank you, Ivan. Very, very generous. Christ is King indeed. Wasn't watching live, was 30 minutes in and just came to live. You were telling people to stop the tenements. What if Chrissy gave Harpole the mic not tampered with? He says it was mints. Go back and watch. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that was in, man, it's been a long show. Talking about something that was in old boy's chest. Baron and Assisson. Yeah, I had to stop him saying the A word. YouTube frowns on that if you say it too many times. I discovered you a week ago and am enthralled. Thank you for your relentless pursuit for truth. By the way, your laugh is contagious. Keep up the good fight. Well, thank you. I have never, until you guys started telling me, I've never considered my laugh anything other than the way I react to things I find funny. So you guys have pointed out something to me that I was unaware of. Let's see here. I'm now an OCIA and excited for my confirmation. Merry Christmas. Joe Hardy, I'll be praying for you, honestly. For those that don't know, it used to be called RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults. Now it's the Office, I believe, of Christian Initiation for Adults. It is the way you convert, or a primary way to convert to the Catholic Church. And we will be praying for Joe. Joe, put your life of sin behind you, brother. You got better out there for you. But welcome home. Merry Christmas from Julie and Renee, twin daughters of a brilliant detective and hero. We lost him 5 years ago, and he would have loved you. Highest compliment I can give. Keep up the amazing work. That warms my heart that you talk about your dad that way. As my kids get older, one of the hard things for a parent, and I don't know that for those of you who haven't gone through it will understand, but when your kid is 2 or 3, like, you're everything. You're the only thing. Like, you feed them, you bathe them, you put them to bed. They're always with you, particularly if you homeschool or work from home or whatever. They're always with you. And then when they become 10 to 13, they're kind of in this phase where they are starting to establish, they're going through their changes and they're starting to establish their own little fiefdom within the house where they start to spend more time alone, and they don't want you around all the time. They're a little embarrassed by you. And then they get into high school and it's like they develop their own friends. Their friends drive. Can we go to Taco Bell? Can we go to Waffle House? But they don't want you to go. They want to go with their buddies. And then they get a car. If they're lucky enough to get a car, they get a car, and then they, there's just this continual separation, really. Now my daughter, who's 19, we are probably actually closer now than we were 2 or 3 years ago, because I think at a certain age they start coming back around. They realize you're not an idiot. I don't know. Maybe. So thank you. Merry Christmas. And thank you for speaking so highly of your dad. That meant a lot. Or I guess your dad could have been your mom, but thank you for speaking very highly of your parent. That meant a lot to me. In the 0.5 version of West Texas is the best Texas. Watch the guy on the right in the black shirt. I know who you're talking about. And black sunglasses housed under the table. He popped up in the midst of the people working on Charlie at 152. I will go back and watch that. I know who you're talking about. I just don't know the pop-up part. I need merch. I know. I'm working on it. I can only do one thing at a time. I'm only do one thing at a time. Guys, I will see you again Friday. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I know everybody says it and it's cliche. Don't lose sight of the fact that the God of the universe decided to be like you. Right? Like, it's hard enough for us to connect with our political leaders. The God of the universe lowered himself to take on human form and be like us. And there's something very intimate about that. Very intimate about that. That no other religion really shares. And we're celebrating that this week. So don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that. Love on your family. Love on your friends. Love on yourself. And I will see you guys back Friday evening. I don't know if it'll be 6 or 7, but it'll probably be Friday evening sometime. But remember, even if you don't know it, Jesus loves you.